Jisoo, 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 Jisoo.
Can't you dig it, honey?
Yeah, fresh out the dealership. Bands, and my homies eat the filter fish. Bands, I ain't even worried about a silly bitch. Tell the feds chill with the censorship. Members only, I'm the only member with a membership. I'm trying real hard not to conversate with pessimists. Who always wanna see you fall down like the London Bridge. Same song sung by a bunch of kids, can I live? Tabloids watching which crib. Competition and the bitches got my name and they lips. Take a shot like 1 and 7 is the favorite offense. Real dog should've came with a fence. Smoke a tree, baby, I can pitch you with 10. A lot of window, don't be selfish, baby, call you a friend. I should make a box of Benny Hunter. Wake up in the morning, feed a leftover Benny Hunter. Even sushi off a body, no karate, I'm the hidden socket. 3 ninjas, Tum Colin Rocket, Bloodsport, Van Damme. Bolo can't manage, even with my eyes shut, I will never take damage. You should build a room for the panic, switch my whole style up, capoeira fight dancing. Bands, not saying Bobby getting fancy. Bands, I should probably change my name to Jamie. Sue Young, meet me in the wine house. June South kidnapper, throw it in the safe. Got an Asian joint named Dim Sum. You don't know about it, need to get one. Out of car new, but the rim jump. Got the front wheel, so what I'm on my 10th one. Jisoo, 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 Jisoo.
Can't you dig it, honey?
Jisoo, 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 Jisoo.
Can't you dig it, honey?
Jisoo, 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 Jisoo.
Can't you dig it, honey?
Jisoo, 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 Jisoo.
Can't you dig it, honey?
Stacking on them niggas like Jitsu. I'm a great white, you a fish food. We should talk face to face like men do. But you two used to making moves how bitch move. Probably wear the same pad that your bitch use. I'm just trying to show you what you been through. Spinning in the same circle like a rim do. OG in the game, strokes beard like Rick Rude. Tokyo, they whipping indicator, we can drift too. When I drift through, bad bitch mixed with Hindu. She got every shoe except your shoes. Bag full of money, Mac makeup and a shit suit. Or socket shots with my little geisha. She rather die than give up all location. She gon' turn to Chung Lee in any altercation. I ain't gonna lie to kinda tell me, yo, fuck it in the Mercedes.
Can't you dig it, honey?
Jisoo, 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 Jisoo.
Can't you dig it, honey?
Jisoo, Jisoo, fuck it in the Mercedes.
Can't you dig it, honey? Can't you dig it, honey?
Bow, bow, bow.
Can't you dig it, honey?
Jisoo, 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 Jisoo.
Can't you dig it, honey?
Jisoo, 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 Jisoo.
Can't you dig it, honey?
Jisoo, 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 Jisoo.
Can't you dig it, honey?
Jisoo, 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 Jisoo.
All right, back in this piece, couple of little bits of information we're going to drop upon you today. One of those things being to get this as soon as you can, folks. This little device, which is called a still point inducer, for a deep state of relaxation. You want to get up ledgers, UPLEDGERS, still point inducer. So what it is, it's a cranial sacral still point inducer, an effective home therapy solution intended to help relieve stress, tension, pain, so you can thoroughly relax. It's intended to help stress, increase vitality, relieve headaches and migraines, ease chronic muscular skeletal pain, enhance immune system efficiency, facilitate your body's self-correcting abilities. So this still point inducer looks like this, just a little plastic device. And as you can see, the person's laying on it in such a fashion. And they'll give you the correct placement for this device for you on the box. So how I came across it was getting therapy for my back. I've gotten what they call red rope therapy, which is pretty much a flexible rope exercise system along with dry needling, which is deep. It's a little bit deeper than acupuncture to relieve some of the stress that massage isn't getting. Of course, I got massage, chiropractor, stretch therapy, and they kept talking about this procedure, something called craniosacral still point or craniosacral work. And the way it was explained, you know, the white dude that was doing the therapy, he's one of them dudes that raises chickens, you know, he's organic as white people get, you know, they recycle. And, you know, he's one of those, you know, he studied Reiki guys. So people kept bragging about how zoned out they feel after this therapy, this session. I said, fuck it, let me try it. And sure enough, this shit is mind-altering shit. He explained that in a nutshell, and you could do your own research on it. Your brain is constantly making fluid, your cranial fluid. It's an ongoing process that should happen in a healthy person at a certain speed, something such as per second, or cycles per second. And when someone is having an issue, someone like myself, which is a back issue, or perhaps many other issues, that this particular procedure pauses that by certain areas they're applying pressure to, and kind of gives your body a chance to relax, catch a breath, do what it does, and all the benefits that I just laid out from this still point induction happens. So as he's going through it, he starts at the feet, and he's pretty much hitting every chakra thing. And you are definitely feeling the energy. You would attribute it to the same science as Reiki at this point. He spends some time at the lower back, which is behind the sacral, or it could be the sacral, depending on how you look at it, and holds that point. Mind you, this is called, I'm going to say it right, craniosacral still point. So those 2 points, he says, between here and here is where this fluid is traveling up and down the spine, and you want to hold or create a still point for it to relax. So he does it in the lower back, and of course he explains how he can feel all the blockage in my back, and that would make sense. I have a black back injury. But what was interesting to me is when he got to the cranial part, which is really above that, just under that little lump or that little indent in the back of your head. And if you feel right at the base of your skull in the back, near the medulla oblongata, is these 2 little dents, actually. And those 2 little dents is where's our titties at? Or pretty much where the titties go, all right? And you'll be able to feel it out and lay on it as such. What you're creating is a point where nerves and all sorts of goodies meet up at, and you're pretty much applying pressure to that area, creating the still point, i.e. still point inducer, which you would not believe the benefits. I did about 3 or 4 sessions with the individual, and it was absolutely clear that what he was doing was making a difference, not just a fluke, and it sure was. He's also the one, because after I noticed this particular point here was a powerful point, and it instantly tapped into some genetic memory. It was crazy. I'm able to go into meditations as you would expect, but this particular, as he held this point, it's almost like I couldn't leave my head if I wanted to. It was like my consciousness stood right at this middle point, and even if I wanted to, it would be an incredible chore to come out of it, because it almost was like it kept or blocked my consciousness from moving anywhere but in this location. So much, my memory kicked in, and then I remembered this goddamn thing. Let's go to share my screen. So I remembered this thing that you've seen all these years, but truthfully couldn't figure the fuck out. Let's be honest. You've seen this Egyptian headrest all over the place, and you could not figure out what the fuck would a goddamn anyone be sleeping on this shit here, right? What the fuck would they do this for? It looks so uncomfortable. A pillow? Nigga, please, oh. But then, as he's sitting there holding this point, I realized exactly what this was for. This is a still point inducer because of exactly where it's hidden. It was absolutely clear. This fucking computer sucks. African brilliance. Let's see. In Ethiopia, they had the same goddamn thing. This is Ethiopian. And they break them down, I'm sure. What it is, you could do some study on it. But here you have my man, Bashata, Bashadada, Basada. He's at rest. He's at rest on what is absolutely a still point inducer. So I think the mystery, unless I'm late on it, has been broken on this particular point and how valuable it is. The relaxation alone is worth 1,000. I think they tell you can do up to 20 minutes 3 times a day. It says choose a comfortable but firm surface. Comfortable but firm surface, sofa, bed, floor, lie on your back. Place fingers on both sides of the back of your neck. Slide them to where you meet the base of your skull. Continue to slide your fingers a little further up over the bony ridge back of your head. Place still point inducer under this area. Allow the weight of your head to rest upon it. Relax, take a few deep breaths. Let the still point inducer do the intended job of providing you with many therapeutic benefits. Feel free to use the still point inducer for 10 to 20 minutes, up to 4 times a day. So it's quite simple. And this particular device is created by John E. Upledger. Cerebrospinal fluid bathes and flushes every cell of the brain. It carries nutrients, washes away waste products, and helps control pH levels since craniosacral pH levels. Since craniosacral therapy and the proper daily use of the still point inducer enhances the flow of cerebrospinal fluid and becomes effective health enhancer for your brain and spinal cord. So cranial sacral therapy was developed by John E. Upledger, the osteopathic physician, featured in Time magazine as the America's next wave of healing inventors. Bullshit, you didn't invent shit. We've been doing it for years. I just proved it. And even if you discovered it, you only discovered it only so it could get back in our hands. And here it is, back in your hands, nigga. So this is a very magical point. And we understand why the ancients were wearing those headrests the way they do. It wasn't just because it was a more comfortable pillow than a fucking pillow. It was actually to create a still point in the head for the cranial fluid to rejuvenate, to rest, rejuvenate, enhance, balance, and then heal on many beneficial levels. You know what I'm saying? Reduce stress, increase vitality, relieves headaches and migraines, ease chronic muscular skeletal pain, enhance immune system efficiency, facilitate your body self-correcting abilities. So a still point inducer, there are many types, but I would go for this one. This is one of the ones they say get the original. And it looks like this. So we want that in our lives. I want to shout everyone out and give them a big warm thank you for coming to the book lecture. It was a phenomenon. It was a blast. We started at 3. The line formed at 3:10. The line didn't end until 11 o'clock. And we got everybody a book. I busted my ass. I couldn't lecture. I couldn't speak about anything from beginning to end. We actually had to extend it for an extra hour just to give everyone a book. And I was happy to do that. That was the most important thing. You guys have heard me speak many times. Will hear me speak many times again. So it's more important to give people what they came for. And what they came for was this book here, my second offering, The 7 Laws of Dark Power, which I'm going to put on the web, not today, at least by the time this is up, so you're able to get the book. And for those who couldn't make it live, you're able to get it online and enjoy this masterpiece. I'm very proud of this work. It is definitely an evolution from my first book, which you guys should know, The Origins of Occult Civilization, Volume 1, which focuses in on Hollywood, television, and the middle section gives you some science that supports all that I've been bringing out in the psychological warfare that's been played out in the media through movies over the years, with primarily with the black male's image. And it follows the Willie Lynch letter as a blueprint for this destruction, this genocide, and this methodology for controlling you through means of subliminal programming in the media. So I break this down thoroughly in this book, show you the movies, show you what they've done, and apply it against the Willie Lynch model. You know, primarily the independent woman. So that's why you have this constant black woman. I don't need no man. Don't go there, girl. What the fuck you say? Loving hip hop, throw a drink in your face any moment. I don't need nothing, including your goddamn love, black man ass woman, because that's a Willie Lynch letter protocol. And of course, the primary protocol in the Willie Lynch letter is to feminize the black male's image. And I point out, this is very little to do with homosexuality as a lifestyle. So don't let someone drag you into this homosexual agenda of trying to make it seem like you're opposing some group based upon something you're prejudging or some fear that you have of them. Who gives a fuck who fucks who? You can't control that no more than you can control what men fuck women. And you would sound like an idiot trying to police that. So who the fuck cares who fucks who? But we do understand when it comes to media, we're playing a whole different ball game here. You understand what I'm saying? So when they're showing every black man in some way as psychologically no masculine match in terms of his peer, which is still not even his peer, but what is set up or pretending to be his peer, white men, if they constantly show them as the man and you as some guy who just wears a dress and sometimes gets tough on the weekends, but usually tough for his cause. After a while, this stereotype, this ritual, which is a synonymous word, will start to take effect on your reality. And it does, and it has. This is why you accept things like Mr. Brown. You complain about Tyler Perry, but he's still one of the most popular characters ever made in Negroism. Not because white people say and put them on TV, because niggas be in the theater constantly. Niggas was supporting them goddamn plays constantly. So niggas believe it because it's something we accepted about ourselves, that we're not men, we're silly fools. And this book, like I said, I tried to make a good effort into showing you how it's done, how you can see it for yourself. And then the third section, I really deal with television and dealing with specific movies in detail, unofficial trinities. Like I deal with Sam Jackson 1 year, who did Freedom Town, Snakes on the Plane, Black Snakes Moan. I break down how this is dealing with a psychological attack on Kundalini people, Kundalini energy, and its Shakti sexual primal energy in Black Snake Moan. How snakes on the higher plane is awakened Kundalini, and the whole thing was landing the plane. Sam Jackson's bald head representing the pineal, the stewardess representing my yacht as a lawyer, and so on and so forth. I go into detail. I deal with some of the rituals they did on The Wire with the word nigger and naga. You know, I incorporated naga in the understanding of the true meaning of the word nigger, and the ritual they actually had to do on Nas, who was at the time one of the last holdouts in New York for semi-conscious music, which is what it was regulated to at the time. Most definitely niggas were doing absolutely nothing but doing a pageantry of consciousness. Nas was actually trying to say things that matter. He just didn't have enough knowledge to really make it anything that was of a grand significance on a level we study on. But for rap music, it was a envelope pusher. And I'll show you how Jay-Z and Ether was a failed attempt to shut that down. All in my first book, for those who didn't get it. So it's still available on the website. My new book, 7 Laws of Power, will be, and I'll probably do a lecture of some sort, you know, at home. I don't think, you know, if I put one together, it'll be in December, and it'll probably be at the same location in Atlanta. So those who couldn't make it for the book signing, you're more than welcome to come for a future lecture. We're talking about November or December, that after the book has been sold and in circulation amongst our people for a while, I'll be able to talk about it give you insights from my perspective, maybe to help with the book, but I don't think you will. This book, to me, as genius as I will believe it is and will stand behind it, still believe it was practiced for this one. And you can see the difference in thickness because this thickness represents zone. And this motherfucker's thick. Most books are 250 something pages. This book here is 430 pages. And you know, that's a big deal. You know what I'm saying? And this one is 582 pages. That's a bigger deal. This, I like the way it flows. It flows with much more my humor. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, much more niggerish shit. People may be confused. People may confuse this with something initiation does for you automatically. Okay, let me go back. To Brother Bobby Hemmett, I am forever thankful. This is on page 213 of my book. I wouldn't really say that these things he taught me in the classic sense are things that benefit me the most, like public school. Okay, let me go back and go slow. I like this. I wouldn't really say that the things he taught me in the classic sense are things that benefited me, like most things, public school understanding, like the most public school understandings of teaching. The true teaching I received was learning the mentality to adopt as I studied new knowledge, how to see it, absorb it in a way that would serve me best. And that's what I try to reflect. It's not just a public school understanding of this, because that doesn't serve us. In fact, that's how they misinformed us, training us the way they did, the way we learn. So also with what we learn, a big part of how to absorb it needs to be reordered. We absorbed information differently. We gave knowledge through storytelling, not through book learning. That's a secondary way of learning. And even then, you would hope the person in the book can tell a good story and try not to intellectualize and pontificate his goddamn deepness, instead of try to actually break these down and get you to understand it on a way that's more usable. You understand? And I think Bobby Hemmett was very good at that, showing you how to take this advanced information, demystifying it, turn it into, I get that, and make it extremely relatable. And that's what I tried to do as well as Bobby, through storytelling. Make it nigger relatable, that you can see it through your own eyes. That's the key to being able to absorb this. You can't really see algebra through your own eyes. You understand what I'm saying? Unless you, but then they show you in Boys of the Hood how when they try to teach algebra, all they have to do is talk about drugs. And then niggas see, so X equals the package and the unknown is the fucking competition. Like, niggas get algebra when you start talking shit that's relatable, which is sad. You know, that's how you know, when all them white people come to fucking the hood, that's how they teach you. Spending all my life living most in the gangster's paradise. Fucking, what's her name? She come to the hood. Let me explain to you niggas how to do calculus. Okay, if you got 10 niggas, you know what I'm saying, on the east side, and 10 niggas on the west side, and then you got a pile of crack in the middle, they're like, oh, nigga, I get calculus. So the way to absorb it, Bobby was a master at that. And that's a lot of what we went through. I was already on my study path, but what saved time was someone who was able to see this thing in a daily way. So new information is hard to see day to day unless you have a reference. Sometimes a story will do it. That's why you'll hear me do so much story, to give you a reference about information that you may have not heard before, or that you heard before and still really can't absorb it, understand it. So the true teaching I received was learning the mentality to adopt as I studied new knowledge, how to see it and absorb it in a way that would serve me best. You can say this day and age, you can say in this day and age that this is what those who seek this information truly need. The understanding of the mind that you need to even begin the work. People may confuse this with something initiation does for you automatically. So we've been under the misinterpretation that just by being initiated, somehow this stuff turns on. That's not what initiation means. Initiation is a psychological process to get you to understand something that you've been perhaps told all your life. And that usually works in a culture. In a culture, you are told of a system that you can expect because the system is such a routine. So they're going to tell you at age 13, this is going to happen. Then at age 18, this is going to happen. And then you're going to get a house and this is going to happen. Then you're going to pick a woman, it's going to happen. Then you're going to go out with the hunting team, it's going to happen. Then you're going to do this and this is going to happen. And then you're going to have kids and that's going to happen. It's kind of the same routine laid out in a certain diagram that they can incorporate initiations to help that psychological process move forward. Just doing the initiation does not move a process forward. It only helps if there's a knowledge or a situation or a culture or a system in place that the initiation supports. Initiation for the sake of initiation means nothing. The day my mother says you can go across the street by yourself to the candy store and here's $1 is an initiation. But until I actually do the work, till I actually know in my mind that one day I will be able to do that, and that's what makes me a man, or that's what makes me go to the next level, until my mother tells me it's time to initiate it and I actually initiate the actual initiation, then I can say, now I am this, because psychologically, I went through everything that everyone before me went through and succeeded. Therefore, I know I am that I am because this is our way, and the initiation or me initiating or my mother telling me it's time to initiate me going to the store and buying my own candy means now she never has to hold my hand again. Prior to that, I may believe she had to have held my hand to go to the store. Now I do not, because I have initiated, I took those first steps. I was bold enough, strong enough, confident enough, because I've been told all my life, once I do, then I will no longer need to hold her hand. So then I'm told that when I'm a certain age and go through rites of passage for a man, that I'm a man now. So when I get home, I am mentally prepared through the initiation. I am now mentally prepared. Am I smarter? No. Did something happen in the initiation besides me getting confidence? Pretty much, no. There's no magical act that happened. There's a psychological change that happened. And that's what initiation is. So holding on to initiations of African origin is fucking stupid and worthless. You're not an African. If you were going to create an initiation system, it would have to be one conducive to your living conditions that push you forward. So I'm all for it, but come up with some shit and stop mimicking an initiation about nothing, based upon nothing, because it no longer means anything in this current scenario. If showing you a gun was initiation and make you a man, if you've seen guns all your life, how can I initiate you with a gun? It's no longer magical because it no longer means anything. It no longer has a symbolic significance of any measure because you've seen them all your life. Therefore, the initiation itself becomes irrelevant on you if you grew up as a gangbanger's child. But if you grew up in the Huxtable residence and Claire Huxtable and Cliff pull you in the room and pull a gun in your face and say, now, Theo, get the fuck out the house, I guarantee you, Theo will never forget that moment. It creates a before and an after in his head. I told you before, what changes your reality? Symbols, repetition, trauma. And initiations, most of them were based on trauma. Cutting, tattooing, scarring, deprivation, and fear tactics. All right? So, the true teaching I received was learning the mentality to adopt as I studied new knowledge, how to see it, how to absorb it in a way that would serve me best. You can say in this day and age that that this is what those who seek this information truly need. The understanding of the mind you need to even begin the work. Again, people may confuse this with something initiation does for you automatically. It does not. Once you go through whatever someone else tells you to do, you're in the club. Doesn't make any sense. I tell you to eat a bunch of sand, then you're in the club. How dare you trust anyone for that? I'm sure there was a time for that. I'm sure we were in cultures where it was conducive, and the true intended shaman perhaps would give you rituals conducive to your well-being. Now, how can they be? Now you have charlatans, niggas in it for clicks, niggas' egos out of control just so you can call them Baba Lao and cook them some fucking lamb that you killed, cleaned, cut, and cleaned up the shit after. It's a ridiculous system of ass kissery that you are now in. Once you go through whatever someone else tells you to do, you're in the club. Get it right. You're in their club. And you should do, eat, and sleep as they tell you to do. That's what you signed up for, isn't it? I saw a nigga get thrown out of a lecture by Eye Opener Productions, and the owner, Brother Shabazz, did it himself. The nigga came to every lecture, stood out in the hallway, never paid once to sit down and listen, and tried to sell all his crappy shit, including his illegible goddamn book. His ass was getting kicked out with a kicked ass by Shabazz. All he yelled that he was a priest of Ogun. Very big ego, no power. I'm a priest of Ogun. How dare you do this? Ogun and Ogun. Get the fuck out. Know what I'm saying? A lot of power in his mind. But the reality, just another nigga who just won't pay $10 to get in a fucking lecture at the time. Here's the definition of initiation. It's a noun. formal admission or acceptance into a organization or a club, adult status in one's community or society, the ceremonies or rites of an admission. You're just getting let into the club, son. That's all that's happening here. Ain't nothing that's that magical. So initiation lets you in the club. That's it. It's not magical by its own standing. They use initiation to get into magical clubs, but this was conducive with a culture. So there's a lot of hot nuggets throughout this book, The 7 Laws of Dark Power, Volume 2, Self-Master. This is one of the books that I really wanted to make where you can use as a guidebook. When it's all said and done, these 7 laws are things you can refer to when you have questions that come down the pipe. You can apply it against these 7 laws, see how they stick, see where they stand up, and you would know things to punch, things to hold back on, perhaps. It just gives you a good guidance, you understand? So the 7 laws of dark power, you should be able to get it on the website by the time I'm going to go ahead and put this up. Not by this week. We'll go ahead and get it. I want to time it to where I have more in the house. There's some on order. So, because with this, unlike everything else that's just in the system, it takes a while with the books. I'm going to have my son just do the books separate. All the books are going to go out immediately. So that big rush of book orders out the door immediately. So we're trying not to get anybody to wait for any of the new books. You can rest assured on that one. All right. So I also want to talk about what's in development now, and that is this. Yeah, good old-fashioned cyclomancy. I'm using this book to do the curriculum, and the book is already dealt with. It's just a matter of making the points. It'll be a 2-day class, not like that 4-day shit before. I'll do it in a weekend, and it will be coming sooner than you think. There's already a link up on the site, just not ready to take classes yet. That should be ready sooner than you think. So it's already studied up. There's already other books I'm incorporating by Frank Rudolph Young, Laws of Mental Domination, other books that are out of print that I'm going to add to make this a nigga class that will never be forgotten. This is called Cyclomancy, The Secret to Psychic Power Control. So this is a heavy book on how to harness with many a technique on psychic powers in many different areas of the 5 senses, and so on and so forth, how to activate, reactivate the mentality to have. Off the hook. I found this in a used bookstore. It's out of print. Any copies of it going around was from this, just make copies of the copies I gave out, except for the original copy I have from this book, which you get with classes and we'll get with this class as well as a study guide. And so the word itself, if anyone's saying the word, is absolutely for me. Nobody was fucking with this book or even known. It was not injected in our community, in the Negro sphere, in the Hotep sphere. It was not injected until I injected it. What was odd, not really odd, interesting about this is one year, this is about 5-6 years ago, my sister went to see my uncle and she gave him a shitload of old pictures. One of those pictures was him holding me as a baby, and me and him argued like you wouldn't fucking believe. Like my uncle used to tell me I used to stand on the steps just to be eye contact with this nigga to argue. Fuck you, nigga, you gonna die. Oh, nigga, you gonna be a pussy when you grow up. They're gonna be beating the shit out you out here in these streets. You know what I'm saying? And my grandfather is first generation QB. When they were still building the shit that nigga put in the application. My parents and aunts and uncles grew up out there. So I'm actually, I don't know if it's a form of pride, third generation QB. Like third generation poet nigga. And you know, so he knew intimately about QB and was like determined I was gonna be a pussy ass nigga. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't wait to prove that shit wrong, you know, your ego. I was taking a piss in the cellar. That's what he did in Queensbridge. I'm coming out the cellar on his block, and as he's walking, you know, had his old occultist beard, and his kids fucking with my old man, and I saw this and came up and beat the shit out of those motherfuckers' asses in front of them. I ain't never seen an old, corrupt, proud, older motherfucker. Ooh-wee! Told my grandmother, man, what the fuck are you doing fighting? I'm like, this nigga done snitched. I guess he was just happy, you know, seeing me come out like super nigga. Nigga, y'all know who the fuck y'all talking to? Oh, Panic. Oh, no, nigga. Y'all done did it now. I need an excuse to fuck y'all up in front of this old son of a bitch that used to kick me out at Thanksgivings, calling me pussy. So that's what happened. So that was a nigga proud day, an egotistical proud day. And when he passed, and he was my mother's father, my father, which was his son-in-law, I was telling my father and my grandfather passed. You know, I happened to run in my aunt, and she told me, she was in Queensbridge, fuck it, I'll come up there and clean out the house with you. And I remember my father saying, damn, he had the biggest occult library I've ever seen. And I didn't even know what that meant at the time. I know I got some Necronomicon shit out of his crib, didn't even know what that meant at the time. And so after I found out what that meant, it was like, motherfucker. And he had books and books and books. And most of them shits my aunts gave a fucking way. But I don't know what I know now, boy, oh boy. He was in the OTO, the FTA, the ITO, the Thule Society, the this society. So I know he has some shits. And most of that out of print shit, which was the heaviest shit from back in the days, you don't see it because once they started this new age shit, they had this moralistic thing that they would print with it. So all those books that didn't necessarily promote high morality in your occult work were kind of like either invisible, put in the background, out of print, hard to get, $2,000. This being one of them. No morals. X-ray vision, how to look at titties, all of that. No warning about it'll come back tenfold on you to scare the shit out of you before you read the goddamn book about everything you goddamn do. That's psychological warfare to keep you from really releasing how far your mind could go. Because if your mind actually feels it goes far, then you start turning it towards your true enemy. And they don't want that. So it'll fuck you up tenfold. You do, you know, you threw some water on somebody, your ass is gonna drown. You know what I'm saying? As it comes back to you, that's psychological warfare. Before the books had it, it was this shit like this that you would catch. That's why I was so shocked and it stood out, and I talked about it so much when I first came upon it in the early 2000s. So yeah, early 2000s. And so as I'm looking at the pictures that my sister got and the one my grandfather holding me, there's some books in the background. So there was a brother who said, damn, imagine those books. I know that shit got a lot of shit on it, boy. Oh, boy, I wish, you know, because he heard the story that my grandfather was an occultist. I said, well, fuck it. Let me see if I can blow this picture up and see if I can see any books. But God damn it, I couldn't see any books except one. And motherfucker, guess what book was sitting crisply on his shelf just like this? Cyclomancy. after about 5 years of me blowing this up, talking about it, the one book I could see on his shelf was Cyclomancy. Now we know there's no coincidences. We know there's no mistakes. So what that tells me, even, and I usually tell this story in class, what it tells me is, even though me and him had a hostile relationship as human beings, once he became that ancestors, all of those egotistical bets were off. And he made it his business for me to find that book. And he wanted to introduce that book to the community, obviously through me, the community, to you dumb niggas, obviously through me. And that's what happened. So I was clear and got confirmation that it was him who sent Cyclomancy to us. Therefore, him driving this curriculum. Therefore, in all of his study, he must have found something in this area important. Now, clearly how it has served us so far through my recommendations have been well. People still have trouble because I found when I did my How to Speak to Spirits class, which was really a workshop, which is still available. You can get the recordings. If you have missed it, what you will find is I was really going hard in showing people the basics in visualization. And what I found out was how terrible we are at it. How terrible we are at improv. You need to understand, for actors, there's a whole system that they use to free their spirit to be in the moment, called improv. Improvisation. I'm saying it wrong. Improvisation. So to improvise or improvisation, I'm sure I'm saying it wrong, is an aspect that actors study, the ability to go off the head, to push forth a story in the moment while it's happening. Not only be entertaining, to keep on with the point, to stay in character, and to keep the essence of that story flowing. That's called improv. So what I noticed is Black people are severely suffering from improv. Let me pause this so I can have Khadija check something. All right. So I had to take a break. I didn't know what the fuck I was talking about. So I'll remember after I fucking open this GMO. So about cyclomancy in the cyclomancy class. So that should be up sooner than later. And I'm putting this together. I'm having this upstairs. I have to finish this along with my titties. Keep this upstairs. All right, so let's get to the main point. We're here. Make it real quicker. I'm going to put y'all up on something that I developed in my class. This is a Brother Panic invention, at least in the context that we're going to deal with it here. The word, or the compound word, self-initiation or self-deify, has been around. And it's pretty much, that same scenario we used about your mother having you go across the street for initiation, if you stand at that corner and decide to cross the street yourself, then you self-initiated. When you realize there's nothing to fear but fear itself, you self-initiated. So You could look at it as that my mother would cross me across the street to my babysitter's house until she started to realize the shit was making her late to work. And we could make it across the streets ourselves. So she gave us all the tools, I guess you could say, for self-initiation. We stood on that corner for about an hour before she came up the block, and why the fuck you ain't at your babysitter's house? And said, well, y'all stand in until y'all decide to go. And we knew there was no help coming. And we crossed the fucking street, went to our house. So we initiated. So that concept already existed. But what I created in my class was something called self-deification, which was probably also a compound word that I've seen it thrown around in the occult. But what I did, what made it personal, was add a specific methodology for self-deification. And I taught it in class for years. Like to hear it, here it go. For you free. I would often open in my class, my first class, that once you actually learn this, you don't need anything else. Because this process is a direct communication with the energy. First, we must understand something called mental alchemy. Mental alchemy is the shift in your thinking that will reverberate on each level. It's a mental shift that should change spiritually and physically. You got 3 layers that all intertwine into each other, which I broke down in the Kabbalah section of this book. The physical, mental, and spiritual layers. How each thing has a physical, mental, and spiritual aspect to it. So mental alchemy, feng shui, you could say, is physical alchemy, among other things. But you could, if we needed a cheap example, let's say feng shui, moving shit around. Creating your altar is physical alchemy as well, if you want to look at it on that level. The mental alchemy, well, spiritual alchemy, of course, is any ritual or spiritual thing you do to change your spiritual scenario, if that's the focus first, because all of it should reverberate on each level. If you do something to change yourself, do something spiritually, your thinking should change and the physical reality should change. That's the point. And if you do something to change your home, feng shui wise, you figure your thinking would change, you're more at rest. You feel you did it for peace, or you did it for whatever Zen or scenario you had for sports. If like an arcade wouldn't be for Zen, it will relax you, but it will also stimulate something in you that's not relaxation, that's excitement. It's a video game. So you create those things and you expect a mental shift, meaning peace of mind, comfort, happiness, excitement, and a spiritual shift, which is peace, rest, contentment, well-being, satisfaction, and whatever other Zen moment you're creating, or whatever reality that makes you feel normalized in your home, whatever. So they all interact with each other. But when you focus on mental alchemy, what you're trying to do is shift your thinking to where your perspective on a scenario or the world, for that matter, you're watching them through a different set of glasses now. You've done the mental alchemy, your thinking has changed. You're working primarily on the way you ingest and even sometimes output certain things based upon a shift in your perspective. So this self-deification is an act of mental alchemy, mentally shifting how you think for spiritual results and ultimately a physical reality change. More control, power, and answers what to do in any given scenario, situation, or obstacle that comes your way. So, mental alchemy is the key to the game. You've heard me mention mental alchemy before when it comes to the law of rhythm and the law of polarity. Mental alchemy is what they talk about, is something the masters, the adepts, must exercise to kind of control the law of rhythm and the law of polarity. For polarity is polarizing yourself in the middle, and for rhythm is controlling the swing. A swing to the left, a swing to the right. If what you want is on the swing to the left, remember there's an equal and opposite push to the right. That's how rhythm works. The alchemist knows how to keep the pendulum on his side of the game as much, and through mental alchemy, when it does switch back, you won't even notice. You'll turn a blind eye because your focus is somewhere else. Now, I broke that down, how that's done, many a times. Look with my Bill Cosby Law of Rhythm lecture to see that. But what you're doing in both cases is called mental alchemy. You're shifting how you think. So instead of picking a side, left or right, when you understand that each argument is just one side of the same coin, the place to be is in the middle point. And that's a form of, that's how you think. You could think I'm a Republican or a Democrat, or you could think I'm none of that shit. And you let that, because you're in the middle point and it doesn't involve you. But you are able to evaluate both sides. You're able to evaluate their strategy. You're able to know just as much about it as someone who calls themselves a part of whatever party, but you're not in it. You're not of it. Let's say that. You're in it because you're having this human experience, but you're not of it. You're not made of the substance. You're not in a mental state of a Democrat or a mental state of a Republican, though you understand what both of them are because you polarize yourself in the middle. That's all up here. Mental alchemy, a mental shift or a mental change in the way you think. So the occultist is required to do mental alchemy, to shift the way him or her thinks about everything they do. Because if you shift how you think when you're getting this information, the places you feed are different places. If you think you're trying to expand your mind when you do occult science, you have failed. Though mind expansion is a part of the process, it is ultimately not the goal. The ultimate goal is a transformation in the heart. And our current state or our current mentality, we feed our learning, our knowledge that we gain, we feed our ego with it. We're trained to do that in public school. None of the mental alchemy ever takes place because you feel you're feeding your mentality because the ego is masquerading as your mental strength. But it is the voice in your head that is willing to tell you anything. So you feel you smart because you could pontificate, repeat shit out of books that you could just give people books and they can read it for themselves. But you feel the need to repeat it for them as if you're somehow doing something educational just to fill up your YouTube content. Is not helpful in the grand scheme of the occult. It is a step one. It's a step one to how you relate to people who have been totally misused in our public educational system. So you have to talk to them the way they understand a language. When we know the African mind understood knowledge through storytelling. That griot, through the storytelling, allows you to draw up images as you follow the words. The images are your own. So what you're really doing is symbolizing that man's story or that man's words. Y'all can picture that shit, son. If you can picture it, that's how that knowledge is step one to becoming your own. What they teach you in public school, there's nothing to picture, and the things you picture are the false history that they tell you. George Washington. You don't even know if that motherfucker even existed. Every goddamn picture, he's in some Masonic pose. Then you have George Washington and 3 black men who were the president before so-called this white man, according to Moores. It's enough to say, is he real? Do y'all motherfuckers think Benjamin Franklin went outside with a kite and a key and discovered the electricity? First of all, what would you discover if you got shocked? That you got shocked? I mean, you could look at a tree and tell lightning is doing something. So randomly you fly a kite and your shit gets struck, then once it gets struck, you found out what? Your key lit up. Do you even know if Benjamin Franklin even existed? Or was it Benjamin Banneker? Or could he even exist, to be quite honest? Problems you don't know. They did this to you before. They told you, why would they tell you this? Or shit like this. They told you the first man, nobody remembers this, that's why they don't make it stick no more. This is one of the programs that didn't stick with you. Crispus Attucks. Remember they said his name with all this dignity when you was in school? There's a man called Crispus Attucks. Crispus Attucks was the first nigga they said died in the Revolutionary War. It's kind of something niggas don't remember. I remember this shit. Just when the first shot was shot, Crispus Attucks, this black man. And then they made it seem like they almost didn't want to tell you. But when they do that, what niggas do is start holding on to this fake shit to find their little corners of pride. So I believe this was one of those stories we were supposed to find pride in. What are you talking about, America? We were the first ones to spill blood here in the Revolutionary War. We deserve, we deserve, we deserve. That's the shit that got you in Woolworth, getting coffee dumped in your face. You deserve to eat at Woolworth. So therefore, you should sit in there, sit in on it. You deserve to be in Congress, so therefore you should be there. They tell you shit like black people died so you could vote. So you better go vote. It's your obligation. Or what about all the black people who died so you can read? How come your niggas ain't flooding no libraries? Same niggas with I would vote, I just voted stickers when it happens. How come I don't never see us? I just finished a fucking book. The Origins of Occult Civilization by Brother Panic, Volume 1. I don't see that sticker anywhere. Or whatever. I don't even see the cat in the hat from you dumbass nigga. It's all made up. All things trying to get you to buy into this system. Then you find out rumors that Christmas addicts never existed. Then you have to really say it. And even me saying this, niggas will find it as sacrilegious. How do you know if Harriet Tubman even existed? They're flirting with putting the home. Anybody they put on money is a friend to them. If she was a character, how could you authenticate it? This occurred to me. Let me see if I wrote this down. I think this is the shit I was writing down. Oh yeah, I got a couple of things we could talk about. I forgot about I have written here. So it's occurred to me. How do we know any of this shit is real or not? The real story is the Juneteenth bullshit. They have now injected that in a span of 2 years to be an American standard. If you looked in niggas' faces, it's like they've been celebrating this shit since we got free, pretending that we were free. Now, when I talked to Khadijah, they did have Juneteenth celebrations in Denver. I talked to Wildstyle out of Chicago. In the Midwest, he said there was June. This shit never flew in New York. I've never heard of it till I seen Blackish. It being a national push, what happens is the same. They play with you all day. It's the same thing with Kwanzaa. When you wasn't buying Christmas gifts, you first tried to make a black Santa Claus, still didn't work out. They gave you Kwanzaa, and then you were back in the gift buying game again. Same thing. You question why you should buy hamburgers and hot dogs on the 4th of July, even though you do it anyway. You need a reason to somehow to shoot off fireworks. Somehow this is fun. And so they just gave you another day to buy that shit and shoot off Papa crackers. And a month later, you did the same thing again. They just gave you another reason to spend your fucking money. It means absolutely nothing, and it adds towards false pride. But the mentality of Black people, like, this shit is valuable. All they did was a certain section of niggas made it a half-ass tradition, and then it made it seem like Biden has said, let me recognize you niggas for all your hard work. Should they do all of it? They play with this rights shit to give you a false sense of progress constantly. This is mind control basics. So Juneteenth was a heavy mind control day, but then if they showed you hold on. Hello? That was early. I already came up. Yeah. Well, no, I'm good. I'm in the middle of doing the tape. Yeah, I'll hit you when I come up. All right. So they hit you with this Juneteenth crap, but it's just such certain. It could be an argument made, let's say by people who grew up like Khadijah. Oh no, we said this all the time. And then there's going to be the argument for New York niggas and a few other niggas. I ain't never heard this shit before. So while we argue about that, the validity of it, we forget to argue, should there even be this day at all? Were you ever free on this day? Are you free now? They say that like it's a theory. What the fuck you know you not? Put on a mask, bitch. Take off your mask, bitch. You know what I'm saying? You're not making these decisions as a culture or a people. You understand what I'm saying? Like, how many Jews have you seen putting on masks or talking as a people? I'm sure you've seen individuals, and maybe they were all in. But it seems like they sat down and made their decision. Our decisions are always made for us. And call it what it is, but I don't feel that there's a freedom there. And it's not just about mass in society. I mean, come on, houses, bank loans, whatever. You go on all day and we already know that story. I don't even need to rehash how we know we're stuck here and can never really say we got free. So it makes, and then I remember the Crispus Attucks hoax that I heard about. Then I started thinking how convenient these other stories are and how it's still controlled. So let's take our greatest story that niggas love to repeat about Nat Turner. Now, when they did a movie about it, how true is the movie? Or how true is even if the individual ever existed? Because in the end, if he represents a black force or a black movement of rebellion, he still got stifled and is known for that. So it may just be a story to give you hope, because we also know they weed you out through rebellion. There was a brother, I don't know his name. This is early on in the game, before even Moors got involved with the sovereign rights thing. And Bobby was telling me the story. This brother was hard, had a radio show. If you ain't sovereign, nigga, die, nigga. You don't exist. Black ain't this, and black ain't that, and you niggas ain't this. Sovereign. All right. I don't care if you're saying if it's right or wrong at this point. Doesn't matter. This is who he was. And plenty of people joined up and followed. Bobby told me that they made it a point, out of all the niggas that they evict, to evict him and put it on the goddamn news and show him sitting outside of his fucking house with all this shit outside. Now, Bobby said the good news was as soon as black folks seen it, they came and got his ass. But after that, everybody involved with his ass went down. It was either him. No, it was him. And I think he was the first, because Bobby also told me about they waited just before the Moors got involved. Another lady did the same thing. And with those two people, right? He said with those two people, they now was able to put a precedence on the law books on how to deal with it, even way before the Moors got involved with the UCC thing. Bobby and them niggas been in it for a while and been on that for a while. Whether you do it, if you do it, that's your business. Study it, and if it works for you, I don't care. I don't say either way, right? We need to be clear on that. One time, a young lady asked me at a live lecture how I feel about polygamy. And I'm sitting like, y'all starting to ask stupid questions, preacher questions. How I feel about polygamy, what does that got to do with the dick you suck? If I say I don't like it, it's the worst thing ever, you still gonna suck 2 dicks. If I say it's the best thing ever, the best you may do is add a 3rd dick. But either way, this is on you. This is so stupid and beneath me. I won't tell you how to be or how to act. Your choices are yours. I don't care. I know how I feel about it. And how you feel about it, I still urge ultimately is you. This is what I teach you, or I hope I'm teaching you, how to research these things through, and if you're more spiritual, how your spirit feels about these things more than just your intellect or your reason. To the fool, I pity the fool that follows any other man. Pity the fool. So no, you make your own decision. So how I feel, don't let it, if I say UCC is stupid, if it's the greatest thing, ain't no debate. Don't be great with it, done. Make a miracle. I'm only going back based upon the stories and the research that I went through and what my spirit showed me for me. What it shows you for you, go make doodle on it, son. Well, like I said, it really stuck out to me how much you can authenticate any of this shit. The only thing you know is that you're in control of your own mind. And your perspective is yours. And the mere fact that a human being in this state can have multiple perspectives on one event clearly tells us we're not supposed to have one. There's not one understanding we're supposed to figure out about Pepsi. To you, Pepsi may be refreshing. To me, it may be a rare treat. To the next man, it may be absolute poison. To an African, never heard it before. You know what I'm saying? To a Guatemalan, never heard of it before. To the Pepsi company, it means millions. To the CEOs. To the guy who designed this can, this may be the greatest thing he's done in this, he may be proud of. To Coca-Cola, it may be the worst thing that ever happened to them. Depending on who you are, this can of soda can mean a million things. You know what I'm saying? It could mean sticky shit. It could mean this was the drink your abusive father drank, and each time you see a Pepsi, you get the shakes because he beat you and drink his Pepsi. Get in there and clean them goddamn hedges, bitch. Drink his Pepsi. It could mean 1,000 things. And because of that, it made me understand these things are supposed to mean different things to you. Trying to debate it and come to one consensus is white man shit. Or social order. Things you say we must kind of agree, even though it personally doesn't fit, is still the smartest thing to do. So if Pepsi had the most nutrition, and it could mean all those various things I just laid out, I still would have to agree. This is still the smartest thing to do, no matter if my father did abuse me, because we're pretending here, it's the healthiest drink that we know. So we can have a consensus that we must drink it, but how we feel about it, it's your business. So how I feel about these things is my business. A consensus on it, you may want to talk to your peers about what they did and how successful they were when they did solving rights. So the ones who are winning with it, have a conversation and see how they won. The ones who are losing with it, have a conversation and see how they failed. And see what works for you. In all cases, I urge you to do this anyway. All right, so I want to get to how we don't know. Move up. For Nat Turner, they make this movie and it's an utter shameful wreck. It is
Dumb. That's dumb. Why fall in love? That's dumb. I don't wanna go get lunch. I'm just tryna fuck dick. Dumb. That's dumb. D-U-M-B, that's dumb. 40s on the coupe, that's dumb. 40 on the roller, that's dumb. 100 in a duffel, that's dumb. D-U-M-B, that's dumb. That's dumb. Dumb. That's dumb. I just tell her how it come to me. Gotta make it sound fly for the dumb niggas. I swear to God, I'm trying to find out what they want with me. I guess the music gave me human say they done with me. And when they done with me, next one, stages agree. You just on step one. Forrest Gump with the quotes done. Cheating, I'ma go Teflon. Paranoid niggas sleeping with the pump deep. Underground military bases, that's dumb. Bobby on the beat, that's dumb. I don't undersleep, that's dumb. N-U-M-B, I'm numb. In the studio getting blowed to the realest shit I ever wrote. In a world where they give you with a Z, then say your ass the antidote. Dumb. Why fall in love? That's dumb. I don't wanna go get lunch. I'm just tryna fuck dick. Dumb. That's dumb. D-U-M-B, that's dumb. 40s on the coupe, that's dumb. 40 on the roller, that's dumb. 100 in a duffel, that's dumb. D-U-M-B, that's dumb. That's dumb. Dumb. That's dumb. That's dumb.
Yeah, who you know really then buy riddle me that? Who you know talk this much shit on the track? Once you say your soul, no ain't no getting it back. Who you gonna have to be much quicker than that? Asymmetrical flows and metaphysical raps, invoking pivotal moment, exposing criminal acts. For those that live in the mask, I show the critical mass. They try to give me your roof, but now the ceiling is crack. Now the ceiling is crack. I will not fall in the mud, I will not fall through the cracks. I know that where we're headed is where we've been in the past. What happened to Sasquatch? What happened to Anthrax? Where's half your advance at? What happened to loyalty and having your mans back? Forever the red, the white, and the blue lands at? We could have natives and never give them their land back. Let's go.
That's dumb. I don't wanna go get lunch. I'm just tryna fuck dick. Dumb. That's dumb. D-U-M-B, that's dumb. 40s on the coupe, that's dumb. 40 on the roller, that's dumb. 100 in a duffel, that's dumb. D-U-M-B, that's dumb. That's dumb. Dumb. That's dumb. Dumb. D-U-M-B, that's
I know when the tide is high, tide is low. Oh, there's an eye in the sky. I know when the tide is high, tide is low. Oh, there's an eye in the sky.
this foolish mule nigga, inspired by the Christian Bible, as if this is our Shakti force, and he takes this whole rebellion based upon some Jesus Christ shit. If he is a real dude, this was the ultimate form of bullshit. If he is a real dude and this is a real story, it's the ultimate form of bullshit. And if he never existed and they made this story up, it's more the ultimate form of bullshit. At least in the context of this story. There's nothing more I've ever heard of Nat Turner besides he put glass in white people's food and got stopped after a few days. But then you don't, it's like almost like mythology or made up. Harriet Tubman, the same shit. I could see how easily shit gets fucked up. I was at the chiropractor's office, and there's a debate whether he's white or black. He looks like an albino negroid from outer space. And it's weird sometimes. He'll come in and be like, yo, them shoes is banging, son. He's a nigga. Then he'll be like, you know, when I was at Columbia in New York, because he was from New York too, he said, I used to get new shoes, put my old shoes in the box, put the new shoes on the feet, so if niggas rob me, they get the old shoes. Now that's white people shit. I was like, I didn't even know that was something you did. That's white people shit. So I'm confused. Everybody else, I think he's black. I think he's black. You know, they all like rap. He's got a picture of a black wife and kids up. He's into sports, so I'm not so sure. But then he says this shit. Oh man, I'm watching the Underground Railroad on what is it, A&E or Prime or one of them. He said, God damn, I never knew that it was a real railroad. I said, wait a minute, man. I don't give a fuck about this kind of shit. And I'm telling them this out loud. I don't give a fuck about this kind of shit. And I'll never watch that funky ass show. And nothing about that means anything to me that means anything to anybody in my head. But do you fucking actually think it was actually railroad with railroad stations? Like they just went to the railroad stop and said, hey, nigga, what you doing here? Oh, wait for my train. Okay then, nigga. You know what I'm saying? I would let everybody get on the train and meet your ass at the next stop. All right, everybody off. We're going back to slavery. Come on. I'm like, what? I said, I don't know, but nah, that don't sound like it was a real railroad stop. That means once somebody figures out where the Simpson Street location is, nigga, the whole jig is up. You know what I'm saying? So this is the type of bullshit, apparently, that's on this show that motherfuckers is watching and believing. That Journey Smollett bitch, that whole family is a crooked shade of goddamn boule babies. All of them. Eve's Bayou, that little Fruity Smollett that made the whole gay fight story up. I know I didn't lie. Yeah, you lied, you little gay Smollett. Know what I'm saying? That bitch would do anything. Starting from Eve's Boule Bayou. So you can see how easy things could be injected and taking just that quick as history. Just that quick. Not to mention shit you want to see and want to believe. You got to think. You wasn't there for none of that shit. You got to take everything as suspect. The only thing that you have is your mind. And if you're going to choose to believe something that you cannot really prove, make it in your favor. You might as well. Shit, Donald Trump is showing you the art of that shit. The Republicans are showing you the art of that shit. I used to tell all the time, and I'll say it again. While y'all think they're goofy, them niggas are the greatest magicians you've seen in the game. They made an imaginary reality. Ain't that what you trying to do? Use from your visualization and imagination and make it so. If you visualize yourself as A, B, or C, for that A, B, or C to make manifest in the physical, you tell me where Donald Trump and the Republicans have not done that. Yeah, y'all niggas are slow with your public school fucking training. You're trying to reason, rationalize, make it logical. They're not using logic. They're using mind control, ritual, repetition, symbols, and trauma. Fear tactics to get the crowd under control. to make their will be done, i.e. magic, silly bitch. Republicans are magicians, nigga. This is most high witchcraft, you sons of bitches. Oh, Sarah Palin, she's so stupid. That bitch was a wicked witch. A wicked witch. Spinning whatever fucking reality they want to and making people accept it as such. Nigga, that is witchcraft, nigga. Witchcraft. Bro, y'all playing the wrong motherfucking games around here, boy. Y'all not even on the fucking same page as these motherfuckers. Y'all too busy trying to rationalize, thinking fucking with your dumbass Tavis Smiley ass, Cornell West ass, Michael Eric Dyson ass, motherfucking fantasy of brilliance, educated in their system as if this somehow threatens them. Ass niggas. You need to knock it off. You have to rebuild your whole entire system of intake and output. It's not even the same place where this comes in. And that's the key, how to absorb this to become it instead of trying to reflect it in your ego and in your intelligence and in the way you reason with day-to-day shit and become it and become the power instead of keep talking about what the power is. Well, in Egypt, they did this, and Osiris really means this, and Horus means this, 5/7, and in the 4, 1/4, 1/2, 1/8, 1/16, 132 is the motherfucking binary code for the eighth and the Ogdad that's reflected on itself that times, and you go in this shut the fuck up, nigga. Talking about it ain't about it. And to be about it, you got to do it. Here's where the experience is. It's in the heart. You know what I'm saying? It's reflective. This is where you know. You just know. You know how to deal with a nigga. Oh, this nigga ain't bullshit. This nigga's real. You know what I'm saying? Your heart can get you in trouble too. You know what I'm saying? With a nigga who knows how to mimic that of which the heart, when you sincerely come from the heart. That's how you've been manipulated here. You genuinely think if you work hard in Congress, if you petition, fight, vote, the things they told you, eat all your fucking wheat germ until they told you it was gluten-free, until you had gluten in it. Wheat germ is gluten, nigga. Wheat germ is gluten, nigga. Wheat germ is gluten. But then they sprinkle that shit on your fucking cereal. Anything. He just keeps, oh, we didn't know. They don't give a fuck, nigga. They don't know. You are the knower, and that knowing's from here. But you're walking around like you don't know. You're using a part of the don't know. Well, maybe so. I think so. Feels like it. Looks right. Sounds right. Everything I read says so. Well, I think that. Well, if we kind of debate it out, well, I was talking to him the other day. Fuck that. When a woman pulls down her pants down, you don't have to do none of that. Oh, I just kind of know what to do. My dick knows what to do, apparently. If I'm sitting there, you go, oh, mon ami, es amor. I love you. Ça. Maybe something gonna get wet. I'm talking that fly Frenchish shit. Smell French. Look French, don't I? Ah, oui, ça m'a amour, ça. Il se quoi, ça m'a oh, les Casbah. Oh, the sun is in the sky, the moon, the stars are nice. Take out your titty, take it out. Oh, Pierre Panic. You are so smooth. I know, bitch. I know. Bitch, I know. Ça sommet. Pussy may get wet, titties may rise. The body knows what to do because it's a knowing in it, an intelligence that's beyond what you've been calling your brain. And what you've been calling your brain and your reason is your ego. And it will take any characteristic you want it to. You want to be intellect? That's what your ego will be. You want to be a good person? Oh, I work for Greenpeace and I only eat, barley, that the earth has given me. I don't pick it off the trees and must fall to the ground. We grind the barley, we make the barley. We got my clothes are made of barley. No, you're saying that and doing that because you're trying to reflect that and show that. People who are that you never know. You know what I'm saying? You never know. Or most likely you will never know. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't have to champion what they are. It's just natural. If you're trying to portray it, you're always talking it. That means you're trying to reflect it and therefore get somebody else to acknowledge it. You understand what I'm saying? Get someone else to acknowledge it. And that's a part of being human. But we need to know the difference because now that portion of our consciousness is out of control. We're trying to get someone to acknowledge us constantly. And then with YouTube are programs and things that are conducive to this out of control behavior. That's why it takes a lot in us to know the difference to maintain our ego, our sanity, our dignity. Let me say that again, our fucking dignity when something like YouTube is injected. And these niggas never really had that much integrity, but the little bit that they did have for this network, I seen that shit just go out the fucking window when it became likes, hits, and then this debate competition, which was nothing more than a template from battle rappers that they're pretending is something educational as debate, but it was an argument and niggas hung around waiting to see somebody punch somebody in the face. And then people got tired of this debate and shit because it never really reached that level. It almost did, but no cigar. You waiting to see which nigga gets knocked out. You know you are. Come on, niggas. You ain't waiting to see who wins the fucking debate. Get the fuck out of here. You're waiting to see who gets embarrassed, who gets called a fucking dick, and all the rest of that shit. You know, and I know, and we know, and she know, and he know, and OGG know. All right. Say what? Get some of this on my life. Oh, ooh. Ooh. That Florida water, baby. Just that pure grade. It's that 100 pure grade, baby, that Florida water. Y'all don't know. Get you some. Jizzle, jizzle, jizzle. Murray and Landman, Florida. That's actually the name of them, Murray and Landman. If y'all don't know about it, you better ask somebody to clean off your spirits. So, self-deification is the process of centering, at least in the concept of your dealing with deities, centering from the heart. We're going to get into that. First, one more thing I'm going to bring up first, which I started to talk about, but this going live shit may have reached a big time limit. There's just too much stupidity and distractions about a chat room. I'm here for the studiers. I'm not here for your social fucking fun. I can do that shit on my own time. If I'm speaking on the subject, I expect you to take the subject seriously. And if it's not a serious subject for you, I expect you to go the fuck away. while others who take it seriously can. I don't want to say don't eat potato chips. Y'all never ate them, Panic. Who gives a fuck? Good, then continue not eating them, but listen to the point of why. You're all willing to tell me how much you never ate them, like it personally is of interest to me in the chat room, then even listen to why I'm saying not to eat them. But you know that's made up. Well, that to me is a stupid mentality to have and goes against everything I'm trying to tell you. Learn this, dog. Learn this to benefit you, not to make me feel good about what I'm saying. Because I really feel, I believe, and know what I'm saying for me. I'm sharing this understanding with you for you to get it, not for you to agree with me. And I don't eat potato chips anyway. I haven't since 1942. Give a fuck. It's not what I'm telling you for. I'm telling you because something may be worth you taking further study and understanding about this place, yourself, or situation. So one of the things I started talking about was, which we don't pay enough attention to, as the mighty, mighty surveillance tool that it has become, which is gaming. So let's start from the early games, arcade games. I don't know if there was much detail in maybe some games, but it may be really hard to gauge what type of societal mentality, I don't know, or what type of data. Let's look at it that way. What could you collect from arcades in the early days? I guess the demographics, what people are playing, what people spend their money on mostly. So whatever game got the most quarters, I imagine. Clearly pinball machines were to entertain. By the time you get to Pac-Man, Galaga, Space Invaders, Pac-Man was the first video games I remember. Galaga, Centipede, later games like Phoenix, Scramble, I'm an OG, Defender, Joust, Dig Dug, Gauntlet, Rampage. These are games that are here. All the different Pac-Man versions. First Pac-Man, then eventually Miss Pac-Man with more challenging boards, whether you got. Then the third phase, or no, maybe fourth phase, Mortal Kombat games. You know, that era, Dungeons and Dragons. So the side-by-side fighter games. All you could really see was it was developing there, but then what was also developing very early on, starting with Atari, were home games. Now, home games, I think, were to surveil. First, you could tell by what people were playing, and it was always a game type, a shoot 'em game, a sports game, something like Pac-Man, you eat, dots, maze games. So Jungle Hunt, Indiana Jones was early, maze games. Zelda, Mario, maze games, figuring out puzzles. So this, I think, was the beginning of surveillance, because to figure out puzzles will give you a climate of how people think. But then how do you collect data? You can't really, I don't know, we weren't on the internet then. There was no internet access, so there was no network for this information to go across. The only thing that could have been happening in the pre-Nintendo days, before this thing went online, and the early PlayStation days, we could only do surveillance, I'm imagining, by what we would buy, what would be popular in the stores. So let's move to where we're on the internet. This is by Xbox Times and what's the name? Surveillance would be going down at this point. Now we're on a network where where information could be transmitted. Sony PlayStation has a network that you signed into. Xbox has a network that you signed into. There was trophies. There was ways that communicated your progress, what you were playing. So we clearly could see what was visible, that they were clocking and documenting the games you played, how long you played them, and your victories in them, how far you went. For instance, I seen the other day that MC Shan has finished 75% of GTA. He's looked up. I said, goddamn nigga, what the fuck, son? I had to text him, look, motherfucker, you ain't doing shit over there. All that car building, nigga. You must have spotted some time to get online and play, boy. And he'll be like, fuck you, Larry. And I probably got a message that says that already. Shan is quite coarse. But you're able to see this. Now, there was also another phenomenon which is even more interesting. It started on Facebook, these games. And the games were all based upon one of the first online games that really hit. And I think there was a physical arcade game of it called Bejeweled. Bejeweled was one of the first I remember. Tetris kind of too, on Game Boy. Same concept, same puzzle concept. But Bejeweled used the 3-color system, which damn near 80% of the games, let me take that back. 65% of the games are just a matchup game. Match the 3 colors in some sort of context. And the criteria for now buying extra lives, extra treats that help the game go along, there's usually 4 treats. 1 treat gets rid of all the red on the board. Another treat is an explosion as what's in the vicinity. Another treat gets rid of a long line. You press it, then it rubs out that whole line. And another one just matches a missing color. So if you need a blue and your red is coming up, you can change it to a blue to make it match. But that is stuff that you buy or earn. So as long as you have to buy or earn, and they keep giving you lives that you have to wait for, the first test we can see is how patient you are as an individual. So if I've been playing these games online all my life, or the life of whatever, just because I buy X amount of shit, it'll tell me how patient if I was creating. Now let's say what are they doing this for? They can create a database on my behavior based upon my gameplay. Do I play this game with strategy, or am I really fast? Do I think fast, or do I think slow when I play? Install this shit now. Am I impulsive? How do I strategize? How do I play? Then within the game, I'm playing one called Traffic now. Traffic something. And it's cars that you have to move out the way to either clear railroad, hit certain things for grass to come over an area, or hit certain things to remove snow from an area. It's the same thing. They just keep switching it off. You have to hit a certain area to move the fountain, blah, blah, the same old crap, but it's the same thing, just same 5 or 6 puzzles, just keep reordered in the same way, which means it's telling me certain ones I do better than others. Certain ones, when I see them, I'm like, oh, I'm more looking forward to that. I'm gonna knock that out. Certain ones, that snow one, oh fuck, or that grass one, oh fuck. So maybe they understand that some are harder, some and they see how I rise, how I move to the occasion. So I always cheat on that one because that symbolizes how I would act in this given scenario. How if I'm advanced in this area, it may characterize how I act in this scenario, coupled with other games. Remind you, you must sign in to Facebook or Google, and we know they both is already proven that they keep a database of your behavior. So what if they're chronicling how you play these games and your game characteristic to create a profile on you? One that they may never use or never need to use, but if they do have it because you played goddamn Candy Crush. 3-payer match, it will tell you everything you need to know about your strategy, how you think, how you act and react, or can possibly act and react based upon them giving you the scenarios through this puzzle, through this game. Same thing. Not only is it training, how numb would you be if you played a whole lifetime of Grand Theft Auto and Call of Duty? Call of Duty is just a call for those who must go to war. If you need to go to war, and then you have to actually kill a live person, but you could see in your scenario, you can't differentiate the two. If I play Grand Theft Auto, which I don't play well, it's a lot of me just running around doing shit in director's mode, I still get depressed because you're in this fucking world where you're just shooting people constantly in the face. And I started to notice, and I remember last time, oh, that's why I stopped playing that shit. Starts getting me fucking real anxiety. I can't even sleep at night. This shit has a real effect when you're working on that hard shit. And it also tells me there's a certain aspect of you emotionally that cannot tell the difference. So when you see crime and the ability and road rage and all the rest of it, even unrelated to cars, just the ability for people to lose their fucking mind. All you have to do is watch 1 to 2 episodes of ridiculousness, and that'll get you on the page. You got to understand that you've been shooting people in the face ever since you were a child. You know what I'm saying? This game was out before my son knew how to hold a controller. He's 27 now. He's been playing this shit forever. I've been watching him play this shit forever. Call of Duty forever. And it's really about headshots, player. Surveillance. This. Once that really happens, why you see all of these weaker white men so gun-ho about this shit. So mind controlled on this side. See, in New York, we wear fatigues. And I don't know anymore, but this was happening 15 years ago. Fatigues were still a part of the game. And I had a shitload of them. And I wore them out here. Niggas, you were wearing for comfort. I would travel in the airport. Motherfuckers kept coming to me, thank you for your service, nigga. After a while, I started going, shit, nigga, you welcome, nigga, because I do a lot for you niggas in the human race, so you're welcome. But just the giving, the conch blanc, what's it, conch blanc, mind control that's already put into them. If I was like trying to hustle some shit, I'd be sitting in the goddamn first class before you know it. It's me and that motherfucker. I just came and I was in Afghanistan. I got PST, son. Not to make fun of this fucking, shit that's happening. But you could get over because of the mind control here. This shit is a mind control game. So this whole occult shit is to try to get you off of the mind control. You can't get off the mind control sucking my dick. You're a panic, I don't eat potato chip. Or anybody's dick. You got to listen to the words I'm telling you is about independent understanding of self. So you could only and have to rely on thyself. That's why I'm even telling you today, you can't even rely on the history that you even were told were yours. And that, how told me that ancestor. But if we want to be absolute, this is for the free thinkers. The niggas who are stuck, no. Harriet Tubman, she was great. She was wonderful. She did the damn thing. Shoot you in the face, you don't hurry up, nigga. If that's what you need to hear to make yourself feel like you exist and better about your existence, then that's what I just said. But those who are free thinkers, you need to question it. I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong. I'm saying I don't know. I've never seen her. I've seen only what I've been told. And let's be quite honest, you're being told by some motherfucking either idiots or monsters. But you don't have to stand on Harriet Tubman to exist, boy. You don't have to stand on Nat Turner to exist. You don't have to stand on any of them to exist. What exists in you will shine if you're your best existence. So if they did exist as an ancestor, they will shine through you by you just being a better you. But without you having to use whatever name they gave you to use for self-esteem. Because if there is a Harriet Tubman, then you have to acknowledge there at least had to be at least many others that we do not know the name of, that you do not use to stand up, but I guarantee you they are behind you if you are something worthy of standing behind. And that's my main goal. That's what I've always initiated and tried to promote in others. Be something that anyone would stand behind as a standalone entity. You don't need to stand on their backs. If you stand up straight, you will automatically be on their backs. And you don't need to have their names. This is not an ego thing. They raise you up because you came to do it, but only if you do it. If you keep holding on to what they told you to hold on, you get stuck in the loop of nothingness, even if that person did exist. That person is a part of a work. And if that person is truly a part of the work, their ego has nothing to do with it. It ain't got nothing to do with them. That's what they came to do. So though they should be honored and celebrated, but only if we didn't stand with them. Honor and celebrate those who came and stand right now. Honor and celebrate yourself. Honor and celebrate those in your sphere. I honor and celebrate Khadijah, my sons, my grandkids, those around me that I can extend my arm to as people. And if they do the same and they do the same, we all covered. But you don't have to stand on these names that they give you and make these fucking stories. It's like, it's only 5 stories they keep making. Fucking Martin Luther King. They got a fucking Cicely Tyson did them all. Nat Turner's the new one, but he's the new Malcolm X one. So they make a radical one to seem like we're telling our story. But are we? As much as you love Malcolm X's story, you cannot deny when you walked in that movie theater, you were already sad because you already know how it ended. So is it a story of power or just a reminder of a failure? Let's be real now. How did you feel? I know you want to say Malcolm was this and the ancestor, this and this and that. Well, go ahead and say all of that. None of that's changed. But it does not mean his image, his symbol cannot be used as a weapon against you in this particular time. And if you champion him as this undying martyr, this as good as it gets, this revolutionary that revolution died with him type bullshit that they want you to believe, then you get stuck in his death. To celebrate his life, you need to understand that you're an active portion of it. You're what he was bringing forth. And it's up to you to stand up with your own divine mind. We are now past group mentality. Everyone doesn't have to wear a fucking bow tie. to live up to his genius. Nigga. Nigga, nigga. You need to do it. It's not about dissing anybody or anything or any ancestor. It's showing that you have a work to do. You cannot just live under that umbrella. And it's one, we acting like it's ours. But what if that's the trend? What if they giving you what they want us to celebrate? Christmas addicts just didn't stick. But Harriet Tubman did. And then you got to factor in what the Moors say about this reality of history. And it's not what we're saying. It's not what most people are saying. Most people are saying was taught in public school. And then you constantly say how you can wipe your ass with that, though. But that's what you're standing on. The ancestors and the Middle Passage, that was taught in public school. The level of it, millions and millions of niggas. Like, white people have this power. You never even thought about that. That's the end psychological result. The mere fact that white people, they just got motherfucking maps, but they can sail the seas with such mastery to bring millions, millions, and millions, and millions of niggas to where 34,000 or 100, whatever number it is, 134,000 million niggas died just transporting them. Then how many niggas made it? Because you're always this minority here. How if all these niggas, they would transport millions and millions of niggas, and millions died during transport, that means they must have got the bulk of niggas here or a fraction of niggas here. And if they got millions and millions, if they lost millions and millions and gazillions of niggas, that means millions and millions of niggas here. So, but there's millions more white people here. So when the fuck was they coming over? What boats did they come over on? Because we were supposed to be packed like sardines. So they was just doing all these boat rides from Europe till they got more of them niggas here. Lost 100 million of our niggas. But we still ain't got enough niggas here to beat them, the white people. Are y'all buying this shit still? Are y'all buying this shit still? Oh, but the ancestors and they suffered. You don't know that shit. That's what you've been told. Well, Dr. Clark said this, Dr. Ben said that. I'm sorry. They come from a time too. And they're the best we have. But the occultist thinks different. The occultist is not a historian. We factor in history, but at a certain point, you were not there. You go on the best facts and you can trust Dr. Ben and Dr. Clark for doing the best research possible. Absolutely. But you have to take it for what it's worth. See, me personally, though I factor all that in, and I know their sincerest effort and their heart was there, occult science teaches you a little bit more to question. And see, people don't want to do that. These men have absolutely changed our reality, and it should, because they brought more back to our true history than ever. But you got to remember, they're working with sketchy shit as well. They unsketchied a lot of shit. No doubt. No doubt. But history cannot be absolute law unless you were there and you witnessed it. So you go with the best things you can see now and the logic. And remember, you're still using logic to deduce this must exist because these things took place. So, of course, Dr. Ben, Dr. Clark, Dr. Sertima, and the whole laundry list. of folks have done that work. These were scholars. Now, when you get to the occult, that's not what you stand on. You stand on that which you can control in this moment with your mind. Simple as that. It's a different way of thinking. So most people are trying to use their scholarly, historical, logical approach to occult science. You're not coming from up here with occult science. You're trying to hit what happens here and become here. You're trying to line up the mental alchemy with what's happening here in your knowing. Your mental alchemy would tell you something different. Nat Turner was an ancestor. Harriet Tubman did so much for the people and the people and the babies. Maybe. But when you stand on your own mind is the only way you can actually experience the power of Harriet Tubman. If you stand in her mind, then you're a fucking follower, and she's not here to even follow that. The Underground Railroad isn't here to follow that. But what she's done was to bring you to another level. So if you exist in the now, in that level, you do honor to that ancestor or even that made up ancestor, which still works. Jesus doesn't exist until they made him up, but guarantee you it works. Go and tell a Christian fuck Jesus and see what happens on that day. You understand? So that made up shit works because you make it real. That's how your mind works. So you got to understand, what do they want to make real for you if they're making it up? These stories slip out. Okay, let's say Nat Turner was a story that did slip out. Look what they did to it in the movie. Shit, look what they did to that last Harriet Tubman movie. What's the point? These motherfuckers are like Marvel cartoon characters now. They don't hit you here. They're like, oh yeah, that's what they were talking about all these years when they talk about Harriet Tubman. That's what they were talking about all these years when they talk about Nat Turner. And then they put scandal around the actual actor. He had a rape charge in college that was dropped, never did it, or whatever the story was. They brought all that back up. So you have one level of people who don't understand, just like niggas don't understand, who's probably really giving it resistance because they think it's a real black story. Then there's an upper escalons of motherfuckers who understand occult knowledge, who, if this story is fake, see profit and understand it by keeping you following a Messiah that cannot do nothing for you today. If he existed, he was the Messiah of that time. He was a Messiah of that time. And he only did what he did to bring you forth into the next level. So by dwelling on him and Harriet Tubman is not the next level. It's a celebration of the ego. Look how bad he was. Look how defiant he was. But you want to be defiant now as you work at your fucking desk. So you look at them as heroes because you can't see any way for you to be a fucking hero right now. And see, the occult makes you not necessarily be a hero or a champion for the people, but a hero to yourself and those in your surrounding by the miraculous shift in your reality that you spin. And you can't spin or shift the reality feeding off the same cookie cutter stories, whether they were in your favor or against your favor. Whether it's the story of John Hawkins, this legendary slaver who still may never existed because they need to make heroes in slavery for themselves too. What if this was your land already? What if you never... See, if this was your land already, imagine a nigga from California to Maine understanding that this is his. Ain't no go back to Africa. They invaded your space. See, they regulated to a few light-skinned Native Americans that they give liquor to. We want our indigenous lands back. But you've heard all your life, every nigga talking about all the Indian tribes that, well, we Cherokee, we Wichita, we Chakaki and we Hachapanaka Ashakawanao our people. All this Native American shit in everyone's family. But we won't look at the obvious when the Moor says, you were already here. I'm sure they brought some Africans here to see how that went. There was Mandingo fighting. But I think the smallpox blankets were for your ass. The killing of the buffalo was for you. That's coming on. That sounds a little bit more white man-ish. How they would eliminate you. Perpetrate as your friends. Kill off your food supply. Disease you. With just shaking your hand. They are a walking pandemic. So what if that was you this happened to? And then they supplanted you with a false history, which seems to be real fucking easy, Juneteenth ass niggas. Oh, good, we get another day off. I'm gonna go get me some Papa Crackers, get me a slab, put that Saucy Susan on it, inject that with a little Worcestershire sauce, have a nigga come over and watch the game. What else we gonna do on the June 19th to celebrate our freedoms when America gave us free? You got these sellout congressmen, fucking either slaves or niggas who said, fuck these dumbass niggas. I'm just gonna join this shit, whatever it is. Oh no, nigga. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Ah. So, what do you do? Well, one of the things you could do, well, you can go to Patreon and take this original class. It's still available there on Patreon. Or you can take this little nugget with you called self-deification. And again, this is my method from my class given to you right now for free, my people. Self-deification. First thing you know is the act of mental alchemy. And you need something like this, a good book of deities, ghouls, goblins, and such. So this is Encyclopedia of the Spirits, the ultimate guide to the magic of fairies, genies, demons, ghosts, gods, and goddesses by Judica Illes. Judikailles. Thick, looks like this. You've seen it plenty of times. There's another book called Dictionary of Ancient Deities, which is also just as delicious for work like this. And this, of course, is self-deification. So in public school, and this is how I teach it in class, it's a shift of mental alchemy. The way you think about reading deities must shift so it will internalize instead of intellectualize what this is. First, in understanding, this is a list of deity in alphabetical order. Who they are, attributes, colors, anything that will be attributed to random deities all across the world. And as you can see from how thick this book is, there's way more deities than Ogun, Oshun, and the rest of these Obatalas and the same old riffraff that you niggas can't get past, like Nat Turner and the rest of these heroes that you told should be your hero. And if you say anything against them, you're the fucking sellout. See, nobody's fighting with Crispus Attucks, but he's the nigga who's supposed to die first in the Revolutionary War. But everyone wants to fight for Nat Turner. Nobody asks, how come W.E. Du Bois and Frederick Douglass is standing on stage with all these crackers pontificating in a time where they was fucking skinning your ass than burning you with tar so they could sell your ass for a reasonable price. These niggas is on stage giving you the plight of the black man, unless they were put there. This is a grand performance. Your heroes, 9 times out of 10, are probably made up. Crispus Attucks got caught. See, if I say fuck Crispus Attucks, y'all don't remember him, it don't mean nothing. But he was set up to be the first nigga to die in the Revolutionary War, but they started saying that don't sound right. So he didn't get attached to like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Sojourner Truth. You know, all the rest of these motherfuckers. People you told, and some may be valuable and worth it. But then again, it still should make you who you are. Self-deification is a way to do that. First, understand some of the basics. Deities, which are listed here, are nothing more than descriptions of energies that belong to the black man and black woman in their mind. So that's why this is a form of mental alchemy, to activate that which dwells or sleeps in you. Energies, psychological energies, psychic energies, and frequencies on being. Protection is a frequency. Health is a frequency. Wealth is a frequency. War is a frequency. Love is a frequency. Peace is a frequency. These deities give name, description, symbology to those energies. So to self-deify is to actually activate the energy that dwells within you, to become it, instead of just to know what Osiris means. One of the questions I used to ask during the self-deification portion of class was, someone please explain to me Isis. She's the mother of Haru, great mother goddess, the earthly rendition of the black woman, the earthly rendition of Hathor, wife of Osiris, mother of nature. All of these generalized book learnings. No one says the one thing that says they understand it here. Who is Aset? Oh, my mom. Who's Aset? My daughter. Who's Aset? I'm Aset, motherfucker. That means they internalize and understand that energy and see how it is them. Because all of it is descriptions of you. And because you were churchified, you think that these descriptions are something you need to get with, something you need to do or honor or act a certain way for something in the sky to bestow a gift of their bounty on you. Oh, stupid, stupid person. This is not how it works at all. And because you even have this mentality, and this is a losing mentality for the bigger picture of what you are, the truer understanding, you stay at a certain suffering mentality because you're still trying to, the way you see the energy is something you need to partition for help. You don't understand that these things lie dormant in you, made to lie dormant in you, and all you need to do is help yourself, you fucking monkey. Help yourself. That's what I've been telling you. Harriet Tubman can't help you until you help yourself. Harriet Tubman, in the best case scenario, even in the made up case scenario, and you see her as a hero, is nothing more than light at this point. And out of darkness comes light. You must drag yourself out of your dark, ignorant human state and walk into the light before you can access the light of Harriet Tubman, Nat Turner, Dr. Clark, Dr. Ben, Dr. Feelgood, whoever the fuck it is you trying to contact, you must do it with light. And this is a part of self-transformation, mental alchemy. And one of the best ways to do it is through self-deification, a panic copyright of how to do it. It's a shift in mental alchemy. What I noticed, or what occurred to me, I should say, was a childhood scenario. I had to be about 5. Wow, that pestle. There was a company that created a book series, and maybe about 10 stories. But before you got your book, your parents would have to submit names and places. They would take your order, apply it to one of their books. When you got one of the stories, whichever one your mother picked, it would have names and places you knew and you were familiar with. I knew and I was familiar with. It had, she used my boy Dane, his brother Leon, who's my god brother, their sister Jackie, my sister, my other nigga Bubbles, who lived in the next building, maybe 2 other people, places we knew, the candy store, Queensbridge, and all this shit. When my mother got this book and read this story, I was blown the fuck away. In my small mind, I wasn't using logic, of course. My logic at age 5 hasn't developed past, can I get an extra cookie, Mom? So the only thing I could do as a kid, which is the most valuable thing you have to re-educate yourself in as you grow up, was imaginate and visualize. When I heard this book about me, my friends, and places I knew, that this was my story. In fact, it didn't take much because I didn't know much of logic to counteract it with my own ego. It's not true. I never did that. I must have. It's got all my friends' names in it. Places I knew. I believed that this was my story. I believed. Hold on, let me get Khadijah to baste the chicken. 1 second, guy. I believed it was my story. We'll remember that. She must be using the bathroom or something. Oh, might be here sleeping. All right, so I believed it was my story. So I wanted to hear it every night. I seen a whole different me. I thought whatever the story was, I thought I was that fucking guy. I thought I was the hero, because of course he's the hero of the story. I thought I solved this problem. It was a fucking adventure that I thought my mother was telling me from my memory. In my young mind, this goddamn book was probably the most important piece of work that has come to my attention at age 5. So I am telling every friend, you remember we did this shit, nigga? Till I went to Bubbles' house, who was in the book. Bubbles said, nigga, knock that shit off, and pulled out his book and showed me the same goddamn story with different names. And this son of a bitch didn't even use my name in his fucking book. And my mother used his. And then I never wanted to see the shit again. So thinking about that story, what happened? When I thought that the story was about me, it took on a whole different reality. I absorbed it here and became a part of that story. When she would read books like Dr. Seuss, Circus McGurkus, The Cat in the Hat, Who Hopped on Pop, I at least knew she was reading me a entertaining story, and when my eyes closed, the story ended it until the book opened again. This story, I believed it was an adventure that I went on, and I was kind of changed forever after knowing, well, until Bubbles ended my shit. Until Bubbles ended my shit, I kind of felt I would go to school with this book in my hand. I would open it up to show people I was famous. It was insane. I became that story. I never forgot that. And it became the principle for the mentality you need to understand the mental shift, the mental alchemy that shifts it from here to here when you self-deify. You need to understand that this is your story. The problem is, like church, public school, you're reading this outside of yourself, that you're learning about a deity. What you need to understand is that you're reacquainting yourself with the nature of your true powers. And what you'll find as you go around the world, you won't have to read this cover to cover. To self-deify, you open up to a random page, grab a deity, understand wholeheartedly that you're activating your energy. You're not learning about it. You don't need to repeat it. You don't need to remember the name. You just need to be in the moment. In the moment as you read it, that you're reading about your power. And just to read it and understand what it is about you activates it in the subconscious. Your subconscious mind forgets nothing. It sees everything. It orders and gives it to your memory in order of what you deem is important. But it doesn't mean what happened in the background doesn't exist. So you may have gotten bit by a dog or attacked by a dog when you were 5. You may be deathly afraid of dogs and not even remember your attack. So that means this thing that you absolutely forgot, absolutely out of your memory as trauma. How many times have you realized, oh shit, that was fucked up and that happened, but you didn't necessarily remember it because that's how the subconscious mind works to protect you. Actually, the ego works to protect you. It's cognitive dissonance. It is willing to tell you a story to make things comfortable, to find homeostasis, balance in your own head. So whatever event comes down the pipe, you're willing to tell yourself whatever it is you need to tell yourself for the shit to be real or the shit to be comfortable. Let me say that. Let me try it one more time. You're willing to tell yourself whatever it is to make yourself comfortable. Let's leave it right there for a second. Love to chill, love to chill, love to chill. Is you is or is you ain't my baby? Baby, 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 please. I believe is you is. All right. Well, I guess we're gonna have to get it done quicker so I can go baste the chicken. I don't know what she doing, but it don't look healthy. All right, so where we at? So it occurred to me, if I can, knowing at least that I have to find a method or a mental way of absorbing these deities in the subconscious, in the heart, without having to study this whole goddamn book. And it was revealed, I remembered that childhood story that had a whole different effect on me than all the other stories. What was it about that I can recreate to create that same effect when I read this? And that's how I knew if I can create that same effect, that would be the method to self-deification. So if I did understand that all of these were descriptions of me, and then I remembered, oh Lord, you know it's real. Then I remembered when I thought that this story was about me, it took on a whole third dimensional reality for me. It took on feeling for me. I just was convinced it was me. And in a young age, there was nothing that told me different. So now that I'm in an old age and things tend to tell me different, not being as hard for me because I didn't go through a whole church program as most have. So now it's even harder for you to believe this is you because you've been under a mind control training that everything you need is something outside of you that you must partition, you must pray to, you must ask, you must beg, you must behave, you must do things. So Oshun, you must behave a certain way. You ask Oshun. Fucking 80% of the dreams people have of Oshun, they tell me she allowed me to brush her hair. If you understand that this stuff is trying to describe you, Oshun is not love between a man and a woman. That's a result. Oshun is about self-love. This is a deity about you and her and how you love yourself. Even white people tell you, you can't find anyone to love you until you love yourself. Oshun is about self-love. It's about people who are lacking in self-love and that this is in you. The methodology for dealing with Oshun is how you ritualize, how you act out the story the same story that I was willing to accept at 5 is nothing more than a mythology that I was Osiris, I was Haru, I was Oshun, I was Ogun, I was Yeminya. I was any of the energies in that story or in that mythology, and there was nothing that says I wasn't in my young age. Again, you have things that tell you you're not this in your old age based upon just common sense mind control, logical mind control, and then the actual mind control of Christianity puts all of this shit outside of your sphere. You understand? So this right here is a shift in the mentality of why it's a good book to go with, of how you should start thinking as, which is absolute fact that these things are you. So when I started reading it from the perspective, male or female, there's a masculine and feminine energy in you. These are ways to access and activate those docile sleeping powers of the God force in you. There's peace in my home. There's war where I needed to wage war. There's financial prosperity, spiritual prosperity, which is what Lakshmi really does. Most people think Lakshmi is about money. No, it's about spiritual prosperity. And if that's in order, money and all the rest of that follows you. I.e., if you love yourself, then after self-love, then you can extend that to others. I.e. Oshun, there's a bigger picture than your egotistical needs in this. That's why with your egotistical needs, you're begging them for all the shit that's missing. If you activate it in you, you're complete. These are things in your mind that magnetize the mental alchemy that's been so clouded with your ego, that has been bogged down with your superstition, with your stupid likes and hit fucking saving the people mentality, You're missing the main point to activate what is your power, which is described for you through the descriptions of the deity, which you now ask for help instead of becoming it to help yourself. You lazy, no account nigger. Yes, I mean you. Deep light guy, you. You're not doing shit until you activate that which has been described by the ones who came before you as your true power structure. You don't need any history for this. You don't need to rely on anybody for this. You have a clear description of who and what sits in you, and that's all you need to know. You read it from the perspective of it's your story. You're not reading about Oshun. You're activating that which dwells in you, which we call Oshun, which is feminine by nature. Nothing to do with a vagina, nothing to do with a penis. Masculine and feminine energies that you must raise up and balance. The ones you choose to use are what you can configure as your power base. These are all formulas for healing, for the correct state of mind, for anxiety attack, for confidence, for self-empowerment, self-fulfillment. The list goes on. You see how thick that list could be. Self-deification. Brother Panic copyright. It's from class 1. And I've been teaching it for the last 10 years. Here it is. For you for free. The secret science to self-deification is a shift in mental alchemy to understanding this is not a learning experience, an activation experience. You heard? Not a learning book, an activation book. See, my mother activated me when she told me that story. I walked around like I was fucking Benjamin goddamn Banneker with that goddamn book under my hand. Nigga, you ain't heard about me, nigga? Here you go. And I could do the same thing today. Let's see where we land. Hades. Bro, this is going to be a long one. That chicken may burn, baby. Let's give Khadijah one more call. Tell her. See what we can do. See if we get that chicken going. Otherwise, I'm going to have to go upstairs on you. Let's see. We're going to have to go to Hades, baby. Guardians of the sky. There's a deity. There's a deity or deities from Persia, also known as the royal stars, called guardians of the sky. Interesting. And they're connected with Gabriel. They also show you, Marie Leonza. I was thinking about her the other fucking day. I could not remember that name. That's fucking interesting. Marie Leonza. Guadalcanapuro. This is Venezuela. We should do her. Let's see how long Hades is. We could do Hades. All right, so Hades is the page we turn to. So instead of reading this as if I was going to read and study Hades so I can repeat what I've learned. This isn't about repeating. This is about what? Internalizing it. That's what self-deification is. Knowing that I'm not reading about Hades, I'm activating what Hades means by its description. They use the description as if it's a personality, so you can have a way to access the energy from a human perspective, from a ritualistic perspective, from a physical nature, ways to access it through color, attributes, iconography, symbols, days, animals, manifestations, and so on and such, and also correspondences and what's his whole it'll come to me, you know, his girl or her man. All right, let's just deal with it. He's called the wealthy one, the hospitable one, the receiver of many guests. That's you. You know what I'm saying? So I am the hospitable one. I am the wealthy one. I am the receiver of many guests because there's many spirits or many guests here. I am the hospitable one because I open my house up to the ancestral energy, to the spiritual presence of myself. These deities, as we treat them like personalities, they all are also consciousnesses. Your powers are different forms of consciousness that does exist. So are your negative attributes: depression, bad luck, diabetes, high blood pressure. Those are deities as well. And if I say that's you, you wouldn't have any problem understanding that's what you are, because half you niggas are dying from it. But see, you know it's not you. That's why you work towards all your goddamn CMOS. But it is you, though, because it's in you. And that's why you're using CMOS to fight these lower nature energies. But you have a problem dealing with higher nature energies as well. You don't know how to internalize it, but you internalize the negative because that's what you think of yourself. That's what you feel here. Come on, nigga. So I automatically see I'm the wealthy one. I see how I fit into it. I'm the wealthy one because there's an abundance of spirits here, and that's my true riches. You doubt it? Try it. The honorable one, the hospitable one, they're here. The receiver of many guests, they're here. That's me. And it's you if you choose to. Also known as Adonis or Pluto. Hades is the Greek lord of death. Hades is not his name. It refers to an extensive realm of death that he rules. This is an underworld deity. This is the subconscious mind. Death only in comparison to what you're calling life as a humanity, as a human, which is also known as Hades. His true name is secret. It is considered safer not to even utter or think it. He who has no name. Maybe his name is Lord Voldemort. And what they're really saying when they say that is too old to be named. It is too complex, your subconscious, and your subconscious form of thinking, which is the underworld, to even have a name. You get what I'm saying? So it's described in general a lot. Hades, you get what I'm saying, is a generalization or a description of something you don't want to name because you limit it by naming it. If I name it a napkin, a napkin, even though I'm writing on it, if I choose to use it as a napkin, I cannot write on it. It can only be used for this. So naming it gives it a limit. But without naming this, I can write on this. I can make it wallpaper if I fucking want. Spitballs, whatever the fuck I choose, because I don't give it a name. So when they generalize, they'll give it more of a description than a name. They're talking about something greater in you that earth does not do the justice. So the true name will be secret. It's considered safer not to even utter or think it, or at least to respond to the call. Hades is the original. He who must not be named. So that they're talking about your primal version of your subconscious before your human mind is able to differentiate and call it even a subconscious. We call our subconscious from its perspective, from the concept of our ego. Oh, we classify that so we can have a way to deal with it, and our unconscious, a way to deal with it, and our conscious So we have a way to deal with it. So we need to classify these things here. So when they start talking about before classification, they're talking about before these things have a human way of being sorted out. You understand? This is that old or that ancient. It exists, but your subconscious exists before there was a humanity. Your ego did not. Your ego was born with humanity. That's a younger version and a dumb version that's being cultivated down here for doing the alchemy. Your subconscious is that which is older, that which cannot be named. He who has no name, Voldemort. He also the one who must not be seen. Not only did people not articulate his true name, instead of referring to him by his euphemisms, they tried to avoid looking at him too. Same kind of thing. When addressing Hades or giving him an offering, it's traditional to avert one's eyes. They're trying to tell you, and I told you in How to Die and Not Come Back, these are considered the lying eyes of Set. How do you know they're lying? Every image we see, it turns it upside down, and then your brain reconfigures it to see it as you see it. This is the world they call of the upside down. So to see our subconscious mind in this upside down world, we really truly cannot see it. We cannot look at it. We can only conceptualize. That's why we input with symbols, trauma, and repetition. And it takes a while for these things to hit. Trauma is the fastest, actually. These things to hit and to manifest, because it is not it takes, because you're not looking at it, you're not addressing it directly. You're addressing the concept of how it works. Therefore, you just keep feeding it until it takes it. But you're not saying subconscious mind change the same way you go with your ego. I'm going to Walmart. I don't want to go to Walmart. You don't need to do any repetition or any meditation. Maybe think a little bit, should I go? Should I go? No, you can make that decision. But to make the decision to be rich, to make the decision to change your job, trauma, repetition, and you see somebody get shot up at the job, you're not working anymore. Trauma instant. And that's the fastest, but to change your job for the better. And seeing someone get shot at the job doesn't mean you're going to change it for the better. It just means you're not going to go to that location. But to change it for the better, repetition and symbols and all other mantras and all other shit that you do, recommended. Eye contact, definitely not recommended, meaning this is a lie, you can't see it. Hades was traditionally honored during funerary rituals, but as befitting a deity whose name people were afraid to utter, Hades was not otherwise often invoked. So he was not often invoked. He is, however, a spirit of justice and traditionally requested to avenge crimes against the dead or the deceased, especially dishonor or defamation. So Hades is what we would use to honor those who came before us. So to self-deify and understand that you are Hades, and this is your subconscious mind that they're describing, you're activating this energy, and to truly honor the ancestors, here's a trick. Here's a name for honoring the ancestors. Well, a concept of the name called Hades. So to deal with Hades, to deal with the statue, the picture, the candle, or a candle that you dedicate to him, something on the altar, to work with the energy is to work with the energy within thyself. Therefore, to truly, as they say, honor the ancestors. He is, however, a spirit of justice. So what is justice? Mayat, or balance. This is where your mind balances. That's why Hades, like Set, Hades is Set. Hades is the devil, the king of, or Osiris, the king of the underworld. Because mind you, there used to be Set worship. In later days, in the dynastic time, From Set, they took the attributes from Set, made Anubis, Tahuti, and Osiris. Those three later day deities are an attribute of what used to be worshipped as Set or Hades, the underground or the subconscious mind. Later, as we got dumber, you had to make more concepts within this world. Guidance, wisdom, and the subconscious itself, which is Osiris. So Set, together with Tahuti, which became separate as Osiris and Tahuti, but Set as together in Tahuti, Set is married to Thought. Thought is thought. And he's married to Mayat. The balanced thought is justice. Justice in your thought is the marriage of Mayat or Tahuti, in this case Hades, which is just another version of Tahuti, Osiris, and Anubis. Follow me now. Hades is, however, the spirit of justice and was traditionally requested to avenge against crimes against the deceased. So each time they dishonor your ancestors, if you self-deify like I did with Hades, you'll know what to do, say, and how to react, because that energy is now up. It is you. So you don't have to ask Hades what to do because they're doing this. It's doing it. It's saying it. It's the moment. It's the aha. Oh, nigga, I know what to do. Because they're naturally dishonoring the ancestors by doing such and such. So let's even say they're dishonoring a real Harriet Tubman or a real Nat Turner by them fucked up movies they're doing. Hades is what you self-deify, become, and have the answers for while they're doing it. Not, oh shit, they're doing it, let me react and start doing shit to Hades. That's a prayer. That's a church head, nigga. That's a stuck-ass, religified ass nigga. No. 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 Become it, and the action is automatic. See, if I become Mike Tyson, you take a slug at me, I know what to do. It's not like you punch me in the face, then I go, I invoke the power of Mike Tyson, please come. What do you need, potato chips, dips, and a little sip of this Pepsi? Does that work? Yes. But we talking about real pimping ass shamanism right now. Self-deification. Self-initiation. Self-transformation. You don't have to rely on history, whether it's false or true. You don't have to rely on a Babalao, whether he's false or true. You don't have to rely on a Brother Bobby Hemmett. You don't have to rely on a nigga named Brother Panic or any fucking body. Whatever network you need to tune in to find your self-esteem at, you don't need it. Should you indulge in it? Have fun, nigga. I love it. You should love it. But your work, if you ask a nigga like me, I like to fuck around, nigga. No. No. No church. I don't like to fuck around, boy. And not fucking around, I found through my work, even before I was teaching this class, this science of self-deification. This is all shit I was doing on my own. I didn't develop this to tell your monkey ass. I developed it for my well-being. And it served and serves well. So I've been teaching it for 10 years. And I always teach it, like, truthfully, this is your firsthand communication directly with a whole fucking map. And this is just one book. There's Dictionary of Demons, Dictionary of Fallen Angels, Encyclopedia of Demons, Encyclopedia of Fallen Angels, Encyclopedia of this, Dictionary of that, Dictionary of Wayward Spirits, blah, blah, blah. Anything that says Dictionary of Encyclopedia, you can't go wrong. Boom. This particular one by Judith Ilks, I like a lot. I like a lot because of how it goes through, and we'll see here. He can be requested to punish murderers too. Donald Trump is a murderer. What he does gets people killed. Nigga just ran up in the FBI building because of Donald Trump. He dead. Another nigga just blew his shit up. Donald Trump, he dead. They want to do it anyway. He's just their excuse. You understand what I'm saying? These, as I'm pointing out, and the whole point is what's in their heart. So Donald Trump becomes the logical reason for them to play out what's in their heart. The problem is you have nothing in your heart but what they put in there about fucking what they told you you should fight for. Lunch counters, Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, fucking Sojourner Truth. And maybe you should, but if that's all you got to remember this is still suspect because it is manufactured for you. At the very least, it should hold some extent of suspect. But you should feel better and rest assured. No, you should feel better and rest assured that there's a way for you to take control of that which is in your heart. And I'm telling you right now, this was a part of my class curriculum. This works and it's powerful. You have to shift your perspective. You're not trying to learn this to repeat. You're trying to do your best to see you standing as Hades, nigga. I am Hades, nigga. It's getting hot in here. It's getting hot in here. Only thing Hades don't wear is that dumbass script Nelly chain. But it's still hot in here. In here. Hades fears no one. Think about that. Absorb that here. If you are Hades, Hades fears no one. Panic a little bit scared of that GMO, though. You never know what it might do to your liver. That's what all your teachers told you, right? And it ain't got nothing to do with them being wrong. But if I'm Hades, there's a non-fear when Trump is up and Obama's up and they saying that shit and they telling you all this. Yeah, nigga, I just don't feel as scared as they want me to. Because I activated something in my heart that says it don't add up to fear for me. I am Hades, nigga. They showed me how to turn that off. These are formulas. No. Hades fears no one. All will ultimately bow before him. All will ultimately bow before him or you. No. No church. That is telling, nigga. Be that. The win is in the bag, son of a bitch. All will eventually bow before that which is you, nigga. Fuck you playing around for, boy? Get in this, boy. Self-deification, boy. A panic copyright. All will ultimately bow before him. Thus he is invoked against perpetrators perceived as otherwise above the law. Dictators, mob bosses, drug lords, fear nigga. All this Donald Trump grief of him trying to be a dictator and above the law, here's the formula or the name you can deal with to beat that energy. Donald Trump means nothing. He's only symbolic of an energy. That's why he has people rally behind him. Y'all can end all of this by becoming Hades and flexing that energy, the more of us that self-deify and understand that energy and understand the purpose, the more it perpetuates throughout the planet's vibration. Therefore, without lifting a fucking finger, you son of a bitch, moronic ass, slowpoke ass, no niggas, if you just did this simple ass work, shifted the mental alchemy, you will shift the mentality on the planet. I should beat the shit out you with this fucking book, you stupid man and stupid YouTuber. Get this shit, you funky fucks. All we need to do is change the fucking planet, they're saying. Hades is a spirit of last resort. That means if you don't think we in the day, if you don't think the time is now, time to get it, stupid. And Pele is, now that we're mentioning it, he is petitioned by those experiencing maximum rage, despair, or grief. Those who don't care whether they live or die, and hence not afraid to summon the death Lord. Are you ready, nigga? Or do you want to sit around and still watch the next Harriet Tubman rendition movie? The next idea of the Underground Railroad, where not only are there railroad stations, there are bus depots as well. And you can get a plane ticket to the north in the Freedom Land. How far do you want to go with it? Or do you understand that you're in a place now experiencing maximum rage, despair, or grief? And if you ain't doing it, you need to see these white kids because they running up in schools doing it. Or even if that shit is MK Ultra and they're made to do it, the pitch that those who are in control of this fucking scenario here are doing are trying to create this level. Therefore, your ass should be on that page at least. Hades is that page. Self-deification is the method. Just told you how, monkey. It's you. I am there, nigga. And I am this, nigga. I am Hades, boy. You can call me Brother Panic, motherfucker. Tip your hat. And don't think I won't tip mine to yours, you son of a bitch. It ain't about ego. It's about stepping up or getting fucked up. Bye for man. The most famous myth involving Hades concerns the abduction of Persephone. She is traditionally venerated alongside him and is considered a mollifying influence of her husband. If you fear you have offended him, invoke Persephone to aid and calm him down. So the feminine energy somehow calms him down. I forgot the story and I used to break this down. Maybe we'll get a little bit more on Persephone, but it's this trap form of your consciousness. You always hear this trap woman. It later became the fairy tale of her trapped in this tower, Cinderella or Sleeping Beauty. So it's the feminine part of your subconscious that kind of can be rescued, need to be rescued, or is just addressed, because if you hear about the subconscious, you'll hear about it as a masculine thing because of the way it dispenses. It usually dispenses in action and reaction to logic, and it actually does act and react, which we miss all the time, to emotion as well. Your subconscious mind reacts to emotion. That's what the trauma would be. A trauma is an emotional action, so that would be a part of the feminine or the Persephone or the trap goddess you can look at, that is always trying to be released, because once it reigns supreme, it's almost like it's this Osiris is that same god in the underworld, but you see the active portion becomes Isis. So she's trapped in there until she becomes the active portion. So you got to read her mythology. When she gets out, she goes back, but the stories always change, but it's kind of similarities in this trapped goddess that either gets out or you have to free or is a part of freeing it, and or the hero's quest to beat Hades is actually to get into defeat the problem of your subconscious mind, the very problem that we're talking about now. So when you hear that you're fighting Hades or you're going in the underworld to retrieve, which you've seen in those Perseus movies, they're dealing with Hades going in the underworld to retrieve it, is really them going in their own subconscious mind in the underworld, and them who they save, them who they, it's a part of aspects of your consciousness that she represents. All right. Hades, which you could go into a whole nother thing about it. I'm trying to give it a short thing. Hades is a oracular spirit. I've never heard of it. Auricular spirit. Lord of necromancy, the dead. Any sort of divination involving receiving information from the dead, including seances and Ouija boards. Now, ain't that what you're trying to do constantly? Talk to the ancestors. So instead of trying to talk to the ancestors, you become Hades, you self-deified, you convince your subconscious that is you, the same way this book was easily able to convince me that it was me that they were writing about. You become it, therefore you become a direct conduit talking to the dead, instead of having to partition an energy that's sleeping in you to wake it up to talk to the dead. That energy is actively a part of you, as everywhere you walk. Someone offends you, there's an ass whipping without you even being aware of, like, ooh, what happened to that nigga? Must have had a bad intention. None of this happens where you have to think about it. That's the beauty of it. You put it in the subconscious, you give it with the intention. This is me. I am Hades. That's the hardest part. I am Hades, nigga. Tell me I'm not. I'm Hades, nigga. I'm Hades. I am that I am, I am, Sam, I am, green eggs and Hades. I am Hades, nigga. Hades, nigga. Hades, nigga. And I hate you niggas, because I'm Hades. Make yourself believe it. In his attributes, which slide dormant in you, become alive without you even knowing it. Let someone offend you. Let you want to talk to the dead. You all of a sudden, I speak to ancestors anytime. Why? Because I self-deify, player. I don't ask them for help. I am them. And so are you, you funky monkey. No. 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 So are you. No. So seance or Ouija boards is under his domain. Hades, together with Persephone, may be perpetuated, propited. I don't know what propited means. When seeking consultations or visitations with the dead. So for consultations, which me and Khadijah do joint consultations, it's laying it out. We are these people already. So our joint consultations are fucking fire, because we deal with the energies by name. We don't have to get good at consultations. We activate that which is what we know. We have access to all of it, and we have the names and descriptions of all that we are in books like these, you funky monkeys. No, get your ass together. There's no excuse. So together with his bitch, consultations with the dead, Hades potentially controls dreams sent by the dead. So any ancestors' communication that's under the realm of Hades, activate this energy. Look at all the benefits by giving this energy its proper dues in your transformation through self-deification, by accepting it as a knowing of you instead of an intellectual pursuit as you were trained to in public school. Oh, you're going to get it today, you old funky folks. If you seek such dreams, he can arrange to have them sent. If you suffer such dreams, he can make them stop. For all you niggas who can't control your liquors. When Circle gave Odysseus directions to the House of Hades in Homer's Odyssey, she wasn't being metaphoric. House of Hades refers to the realm of the dead, but also to a necromantion, a type of oracle house. Once has been on earth near Parga, the northwestern Greece, at the confluence of the Archon of the Codis River, pretty much where Circle told Odysseus it would be. Incorporated into a shrine dedicated to Hades and Persephone, priests serving the oracle lived on the site. The word I couldn't think of before was consort. So they'll tell you the deity and his consort, which in this case is Persephone. The shrine also contained a room for travelers to be housed. Pilgrims stayed for days performing ritual purification, following a strict diet of incorporated lupine seeds, the type of fava bean that can be theoretically induced for visions. In addition, archaeologists have unearthed large quantities of dehydrated hashish. So it was a place physically where you would go in Greece, get high and do that work, do some subconscious work. So it is where you would physically do things to the subconscious mind under the banner of these same names and same mythology and characteristics. It's nothing more than the ritualization of what I'm talking about, self-deification. And in this case, what they were acting out was realization through ritual practice. Pilgrims descended into the labyrinth, passageways via iron-bound door until reaching the portal where conversations with the dead were allegedly possible. For example, Tyrant of Corinthian sent a delegation to ask the dead wife where she hid the treasure. The shrine was existed for at least the earlier BC, and the Romans for savage reasons, blah, 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 repeatedly were slaves. The oracle's house was destroyed. The site was inhabited once 200 years to the 18th century, blah, 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 you get it. So that's the physical things they got out of it, but we're more interested in self-deification unless y'all niggas want to go there and do the work. So it'll tell you things like his manifestation. A large man with a curly black beard, you can get that as a symbol, put it on the altar picture and do the work. Attributes, a helmet that confers invisibility. You could buy you a nice helmet from Party City, something that you like, and it becomes your Hades helmet, or look and see what a Hades helmet looks like. You probably be able to get one or something close to it. And you do meditations with invisibility. Will you be physically invisible? No. But if you keep doing that with the subconscious mind, can't tell the difference. So where you need a cloak, where they won't notice you, where you kind of fly under the radar, that kind of thing at work, you don't want to stand out in an office, you don't want to stand wherever you walk into a room, that power is with you when you're doing the meditations because you became invisibility. Just put on the symbol to get your mind there. And you really don't need the helmet. You should be just, you should get to a point where you don't need anything. You just read the description, know it's you, close the book, and you ain't got to remember nothing. The subconscious does, and all you know is you fed it right here because you became emotionally attached to it as well as logically connected to it, understanding the intention. See, I used to break it down like you could have sex, truthfully, for 3 intentions: to have a baby, for fun, or sexual alchemy. So we'll leave sexual alchemy out of it. When you're in public school, you're fucking just for fun. When you're doing the self-deification, you're fucking to have a baby. You're impregnating yourself for a new reality. Attributes, we got familiar. Hades is usually depicted together with Cerberus, the three-headed guard dog, which is Anubis. So Hades, like Osiris, hangs with Anubis. You know what I'm saying? Persephone seems like his Mayat or his balance that could calm him down. So that's probably acting as Tahuti, again, the masculine and feminine switching, because what makes Tahuti, they tell me what makes him smart is Sachet, whispers in his ear, his wife is Mayat. So they're telling you, and if you read Oracle of the Illuminati, William Henry, this white man, tells you about how the ancient man looked at the divine feminine as the activating force in the Christ energy. So Vishnu is sleeping until the Mahavadiyas rub his feet, wake him up. Jesus is sleeping until Mary Magdalene washes his feet with her hair, symbolizing her consciousness, waking him up. And Jason in the Technicolor Dreamcoat was a Broadway play. The Technicolor Dreamcoat represents the divine feminine as the cloak, which was also Jason in the Argonauts. The Golden Fleece represented the divine Black woman's consciousness, waking you up, or the divine feminine. There's a book, can't remember the guy's name, The Goddess. It's about, it's all about, I'll get it for you next time, and I've given it out, about Shakti energy. It explains what Shakti as the primal goddess force is. Hades is a primal version of your subconscious. That's why they say he's an earlier version. Shakti, before it became Kundalini, was the primal version of that life force energy. So each goddess is a Shakti for their consort, a life force energy. Persephone is his life force energy, or his Shakti energy, or his balance. So ritual, invoke Hades by falling to the ground and banging on it. Use an open palm, not your fist. The goal is to request him to demonstrate your description, not to inquire or insult Gaia. When you feel like you have his attention, speak into the earth. That's a ritual. Do it. You're talking to yourself. Ain't you the earth? Altar. For obvious reasons, Hades is usually not invited into the home. You got to be real sure in your mind at what this is. No longer feared of death. No longer see it as a mystery. Do enough work where this shit is no longer something that you feel is an obstacle. It's a double-edged sword, because they don't want to cheapen it or cheapen the energy as they're trying to explain it's something you could get with. That is a powerful aspect of your thoughts. So, but at the same time, when you self-deify, you're trying to understand it is your thoughts and there is nothing to fear. Once you understand and you've done this work for a while, you'll be able to wield these powers, because you'll find that there's a Hades in every society. There's a love goddess in every society. There's a this or that everywhere. Therefore, the world gets smaller when you're just really dealing with war, peace, love, finances, healing, and not too much more, your subconscious. The Egyptians were the ones who deified everything. So you won't invite them in the house. You dig a grave or a door-shaped pit, pour libations within it. Offers are placed inside too. Leave the pit open while incense and candles are burning. It can be covered once you invoke. Your invocation is complete. Leave the offerings inside. So go in your backyard, dig a hole, and go ape shit. Put some pork in that motherfucker. Liquor in that motherfucking hole. Go crazy. Plants, black, narcissus, mint is his. Cypress trees are his. Fava beans are his. The shit that Hannibal Lecter loves to eat. Half that shit you could get at mountainroseherbs.com. That's where I get my herbs. mountainroseherbs.com. If not, find it. Black narcissus sounds like a folk name for a more specific plant. You can get Scott Cunningham's book, Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs, where he gives folk names. where you could look up Black Narcissist and find out his real name, but you probably just do that online. His metal is iron, his color is black, his animals, black ram, wolf, and a bear. His sacred site, he has a shrine on Mount Mentha in Typholia. Ellis Hades was also worshipped in Athena at a temple near Corenia in Bodiotia. Also see Athena, Charon, Circle, Demeter, Menth, Olympian spirits, Persephone, Thanos. He's also connected with Thanos. Got that ring on, baby. All right, so now, and that would be it. I'm not going to dwell on it unless I want to do the rituals, which sounds like a sweet one. Dig a hole, fill that shit up, give it to Hades. I think I'm going to do that just because I want to. But in terms of self-deification, I'm done. Long as I'm able to see it as me, as opposed to something I was studying. I shouldn't remember none of it because my heart knows it, my mind knows it, and I know I did it to become it. It is as simple as that. You have now self-deified. The more you do it, the more you get used to that, the more you read with that mentality, the more you will see results. You'll see, you'll just know what to say. It's not a learning thing. So 5 + 4 - 7 doesn't necessarily always equal 2. You may study the 3 times tables and become a master of the 4 times tables. I'm sorry, become a master of the 7 times tables, because you expect after 3 comes 4, but it's activating, not learning. So you want to activate these energies. Self-deification is probably one of the sweetest ways that you can make this shit happen for a very low, very easy effort, just a shift in your thinking, your mental alchemy. So again, enjoy the music. At the end, I produced it. It's some fire shit. It's B.O.B. It's some remixes I did for the elements you all know and love. So that's exactly what you heard in the beginning. You can get my new book and the new class, which should be up momentarily. The Psychomancy class on occultlectures.com. Sign up. We're doing it on Zoom. There'll be more than enough space. You don't have to ask, is there enough room? There's enough room. And we'll do them. They're only a weekend, so I'll be accommodating your asses quicker than later. I'm setting this up for future use. The book, I'm waiting for new books. I'll put it up this week. Books will be ready for those who have not got it, and we're ready to ship books directly. We're on fire, boys and girls. Again, I want to thank y'all for coming out for the book signing. It was a super fine, show enough blast for your monkey ass. And that's what we do. And that's that. So at this point, I will say peace and Pepsi. You now know the secret to self-deification. Start doing the work. Remember to enjoy yourself. Remember to have fun. Don't look at it as work. Look at it as self-discovery. Have and find the joy I found when my mother read this story and my personal names were in it. My friends' personal names and places were in it. Things I knew. Tell yourself these are things you know, because they are. And the more you tell yourself that these are things you know, the more your mind will make it real. The more your mind will accept this as the reality that you are. That's the sad, scary thing. It is just that simple. They got you thinking this complex college thing is what you're supposed to learn to be learned. But it's really your childhood mentality of visualization and imagination that's your fucking savior, son. And that's your true genius. Without a physical body, what else is there in the world of truth? So you deal with the world of truth, the knowing. You're not trying to figure it out from the other side. You are from the other side. You come here to observe what you truly are, to figure out more about what you are. But when you really are it, all you have to do is activate. And that's what I tapped into through self-deification. I was doing that way before there was a class for your monkey ass. This is something that I know is certified workable. Because I certified and worked it way before I told any other person about it. Self-deification laid out. Read it once, read it twice. Go through this shit however you need to go through it. But long as you understand that it is you that's being activated, not that you're learning about Hades. You're Hades. See it. Throne yourself, nigga. See the colors, nigga. I am Hades. I can see it. I see my crown of invisibility. I see Khadijah's Persephone, boy. I see it. It's not a guess. It is it. And that's all you have to do. Now I can move on and eat my chicken. Simple as that. That's the scary truth. It's your visualization and your imagination that's going to save you, monkey. You stop trying to climb the trees for bananas and nuts. Sit your ass Indian style and Baphomet your way out of this, boy. That's all you got. So until next time, you funky fucks. I pity the fool, nigga. I pity the fool.
Jisoo, 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 Jisoo.
Think you dig it, honey?
Yeah, fresh out the dealership. Hands, my homies eat the filter fish. I ain't even worried about a silly bitch. Tell the feds chill with the censorship. Members only, I'm the only member with a membership. I'm trying real hard not to conversate with pessimists. Always wanna see you fall down like the London Bridge. Same song sung by a bunch of kids, can I live? Tabloids watching which crib. Competition and the bitches got my name and they live. Take a shot like 1 and 7 is the favorite offense. Real dog should've came with a fence. Smoke a tree, baby, I can pitch you with 10. A lot of window, don't be selfish, baby, call you a friend. I should make a box of Benny Hunter. Wake up in the morning, feed a leftover Benny Hunter. Even sushi off a body, no karate, I'm the hidden socket. 3 ninjas, Tum Colin Rocket, Bloodsport, Van Dam. Bolo can't manage, even with my eyes shut, I will never take damage. You should build a room for the panic, switch my whole style up, capoeira fight dancing. Not saying Bobby getting fancy. I should probably change my name to Jamie. Sue Young, meet me in the wine house. Junetao kidnapper, throw it in the safe. Yeah, the Asian joint named Dim Sum. You don't know about it, need to get one. Out of car, no, but the rim jump. Got the front wheel, so what? I'm on my 10th one. Jisoo, 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 Jisoo.
Think you dig it, honey?
Jisoo, 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 Jisoo.
Think you dig it, honey?
Jisoo, 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 Jisoo.
Think you dig it, honey?
Jisoo, 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 Jisoo.
Think you dig it, honey?
Stacking on them niggas like Jitsu. I'm a gray white, you a fish food. We should talk face to face like men do. But you too used to making moves how bitch move. Probably wear the same pad that your bitch use. I'm just trying to show you what you been through. Spinning in the same circle like a rim do. OG in the game, strokes beard like Rick Rude. Tokyo, they whipping indicator, we can drift too. When I drift through, bad bitch mixed with Hindu. She got every shoe except your shoes. Bag full of money, Mac makeup and a shit suit. Or socket shots with my little geisha. She rather die than give up all location. She gon' turn to Chung-Lee in any altercation. I ain't gonna lie to kinda turn me on. Fuck it in the Sadies.
Think you dig it, honey?
Jisoo, 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 Jisoo.
Think you dig it, honey?
Jisoo, Jisoo, fuck it in the Sadies.
Think you dig it, honey? Think you dig it, honey?
Bow, bow.
Think you dig it, honey?
Jisoo, 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 Jisoo.
Think you dig it, honey?
Jisoo, 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 Jisoo.
Think you dig it, honey?
Jisoo, 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 Jisoo.
Think you dig it, honey?
Jisoo, 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 Jisoo.
Yeah.